If you've ever been ready to sit on a lake and golf, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We're going to close the week out strong here. It is Friday, which means a Friday fun day. We got Mark Putrino coming on. We got Anne-Marie coming on. We got one more market day. Looks like we got a push right now in the SPY. We're going to have some fun. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for July 24th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Thursday. We're back to close the week out strong, and it's Friday. And the trend around here is to have some fun on Fridays. That's exactly what we're going to do. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Let's get right to it. Solitary Soldier is first here today. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, indeed. Good to see you. Janie, good morning. Welcome back. It's always great to see you. Derek, welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, welcome back. Peter, welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. And to the Benzie gang, welcome back. Pachi, happy Friday afternoon. It's great to see you again. Zach says, if you haven't tried it yet, the best pizza joint in Chicago is Putrino and Faluna's. And one day you'll be able to spell my name right. Maybe Mark will consider opening up a pizza place with me, and that'd be fun. I'd probably be eating more pizza, to be honest. Not sure how good that is. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Welcome back. Eric, good morning and welcome back. Eric says, I am from Buffalo and I ride bicycles. I've got somebody you should meet, Eric. We probably know each other. That's probably true. If you don't, now's a good time. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Harlugo, only up today. Good morning. And the peace sign. Vibes are good, Harlugo. Vibes are good. Welcome back. I hope you're having a good morning. Brandon, good morning. It's always great to see you. It looks like a slight memory pullback this morning. Indeed, let me know. Are you buying this memory pullback? This is pretty much what I've been asking recently, all of these memory names. Do you think that they're buyable, or do you think that the highs are in for the year? I guess that's the easiest way to look at it. Me personally, where I sit, I think we probably get another run at that, but we'll see. Durkis, good morning. Oh, I haven't been highlighting him. Durkis, good morning. Linda, good morning. Liam, good morning. Cynthia, good morning. Bernhard, always great to see you. Welcome back. Matthew, good morning. Matthew joining us from X today. Matthew, let me know if you've used both. I'd be curious to know which experience is actually better. Just as a reminder here, I see the comments from all of the platforms. So no matter what platform you join, we'll be able to see your comments. Really, it comes down to what other comments do you see, right? If you join from Twitter, you don't see the YouTube comments and vice versa. Let me know which one you prefer. I'm curious. Marionette, good morning. It's great to see you again. Welcome back. Richard Judge, same deal. Happy Friday and welcome back. Barb, always good to see you. Welcome back. Alan, locked in. Good morning to everybody, and good morning to you, Alan. Thanks for joining us again. Robert letting us know that Vivek hasn't had enough this week. It's moving again, so get ready for that. Big Bees, good morning. He's ready for the weekend. Let's make it great with wins, wins, and wins. Might I also suggest wine? Just saying. The Goods, good morning. Just passing through, good morning. Who am I missing here? Yes, that girl, good morning. Hey, Ryan and the Benzies. It's my B-Day. So great to start it with you all. Yes, that girl. Happy birthday, July 24th. Really good stuff. You must be what, 21, 22? LOL. Anyway, I hope that you have a great day and a great birthday here today. And then, of course, a birthday weekend, which I'm sure you're getting ready to kick off. I will be celebrating your birthday from a lake and a boat on said lake. Gene, good morning. Welcome back. Crankbait, good morning. Welcome back. Jay, good morning. Welcome back. And Robot to Trade, good morning and welcome back. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get this day kicked off with our stock market today. All right, let me get the screen set up here. Oops, got to share my screen. Boom. All right. Futures in the green here, but very close to unchanged. S&P futures up 0.19%. The Dow futures up 0.38%. And the NASDAQ holding on to green up by 0.08%. So we'll see if we can hold these going into the open here, or see if we end up having a green day on this Friday. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session, as well as what we have on deck for you here today. We also have some stocks in focus for you. Consumer staples, communication services, and consumer discretionary stocks dragged the S&P 500 on Thursday as most sectors finished in the red, though industrials and healthcare managed to buck the trend and close higher. U.S. stock futures were higher on Friday as the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ indices rose following Thursday's lower close. NASDAQ Composite dropped below $25,000 level on Thursday as heavy AI spending plans from Alphabet, ticker GOG and GOGL, and Tesla, ticker TSLA, unnerved investors, and Middle East tensions pushed oil above $100. The Roundtree Magnificent 7 ETF, or MAGS, MAGS, which tracks the 7 largest U.S. technology companies, fell 4.63% in its worst session since April of 2025. However, Brent crude futures cooled down on Friday, hovering around the $98 mark as of this publication. This followed President Trump saying Iranian funds will be held by the U.S., should be used to pay for any future damages to ships and cargo. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.691%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.331%. The CME Group's Fed Watch tool projection showed that the markets are pricing a 70.6% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the July meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today. The first one's going to be Intel. This is ticker INTC, and it was 3.37% higher in the pre-market on Friday after it posted its strongest revenue growth in 15 years at $16.13 billion, which beat the consensus of $14.42 billion. The company reported second quarter earnings, adjusted earnings of 42 cents per share, doubling the estimates of 21 cents per share. The next stock on our list is going to be Deckers Outdoors, and the ticker is DECK. It slipped 3.41% despite posting better than expected first quarter results after Thursday's closing bell. The next stock on our list is going to be Edward Life Sciences. Ticker is EW. It advanced by 4.29% after reporting better than expected second quarter financial results and raising its fiscal year 2026 sales guidance. The next stock on our list is going to be SAP. This is SAP SE. The ticker is SAP. It jumped 5.88% despite missing analyst estimates on the top and bottom lines. However, its current cloud backlog stood at 22.9 billion euro or 26.053 billion USD. The last stock on our list is going to be Oracle, ticker ORCL. It was 2.73% higher following a $7 billion Pentagon deal. All right, let's get back to Pro here. Let's get back to Pro. Boom. All right, and let's take a look at the SPY chart here today. Let's see where we sit and where we might be going here. Sorry, my platform is lagging a bit here. There we go. All right, here's what we got on the SPY. So we did fall a little bit yesterday, but we're still in this sideways range. And I know that the range has been really tight recently. Perhaps it's expanding a little bit, but ultimately the sideways range that I have in here is marked by 730 on the downside and probably, I would actually say 760 on the upside. So that 30 points of SPY travel is this kind of sideways area that we're in. Now, today we're sitting at 740.50, so we are back above the 740 level. But we'll see where we close. That's ultimately what we want to know here for today. We are beneath the 50 and we are beneath the 20. Again, we'll see what kind of performance we get here from the SPY. If we take a look at the inside of SPY here, this is what it looks like. Looks like we had kind of a double bottom here around 735. So we'll see if that holds if we do, in fact, pull back here today. But also really watching that 740 level. And as you can see, it sure looks like the SPY is kind of hovering around that there. Please stop talking. Bora, do me a huge favor. Huge favor. Go kick rocks. Okay, now let's take a look at some insights from analysts and see what they are saying about today and getting us ready here for today. Brian Reeling, co-head of Global Fixed Income and Digital Asset Strategy at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, anticipates that the Federal Reserve will maintain a tight inflation-focused monetary stance. While expecting the Fed to keep interest rates steady without further hikes this year, Reeling notes that policymakers are, quote, not ready to declare victory, end quote. He emphasized that the inflation remains stubborn. The Fed could keep policy restrictive for longer. Regarding economic drivers, Reeling views artificial intelligence investment as a central economic force. He observes that while near-term spending on data centers and equipment may push prices up, technology will eventually enhance corporate productivity. As Reeling explains, quote, AI may be a little bumpy at first, but it could help the economy run more efficiently down the road, end quote. Given the macroeconomic backdrop, Reeling favors short-term fixed income assets like treasuries and money market funds to earn steady yield with minimal interest rate risk, remarking that, quote, sometimes the boring part of the portfolio earns its keep, end quote. And indeed, we always like to take a look at some of the longer-term stuff. I would say probably most of my buying in positions that I intend to hold for longer than a week or so are, in fact, long-term positions that do pay just to hold that. Real quick, we do have the July's S&P Flash U.S. Manufacturing and Services PMI. That'll be out by 9:45, so about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that. We'll see if that has a dramatic impact on the market. I'm a bit skeptical of that, so we'll see. But let's talk about Intel. Let's go talk about Intel. And actually, we'll start with the chart here. We'll do this like we did with some of the other earnings plays from yesterday. Here's Intel. Now, we had talked a lot about the broadening formation and how, generally speaking, this can lead to an upside breakout. Now, we've done a really good job holding the 100, and we've done a really good job holding the trend line down. We're also holding the round 100 number as the stock is up 2.84% here today. But realistically, what we need is going to be a recapture of the 20-day moving average. That has been very indicative of the trend. That's sitting up there at 111.33. Intel 8 points away from that here. So not sure that that's necessarily going to happen today, but we're holding in there. Despite this pullback, we are holding in there. Nothing to panic yet. Now, let's take a look at the Intel earnings and some of the reactions to it. Intel earnings spark bullish reactions as Jim Cramer calls, quote, Intel the one, end quote. Oh, no, maybe now we're going to be in trouble. Gene Munster says investors can, quote, sleep well at night. Okay. Intel reported second quarter revenue of $16.13 billion. This topped analyst estimates of $14.42 billion. Adjusted earnings came in at 42 cents per share, well above the consensus estimate of 21 cents per share, according to Benzinga Pro. Intel drew praise from market commentators on Thursday after posting second quarter results that topped estimates, with investors and analysts focusing on the company's AI-driven demand, higher capital spending plans, and long-term foundry roadmap. CNBC's Jim Cramer called Intel, quote, the one, end quote, after the results and said listening to the company was, quote, to listen to a seasoned team that counts every penny before it spends it, end quote. Patrick Moorhead, CEO and chief analyst of Moore Insights and Strategy, said no one should be surprised Intel, quote, crushed earnings, citing unprecedented demand for data center CPUs driven by agentic AI, pricing gains, higher volumes, and improving supply. Future Equities' Shea Ballure called Intel's quarter a victory lap and added that the company's expanding AI portfolio, strengthening foundry business, and disciplined capital allocation shows a, quote, second growth curve, end quote, which is driven by agentic AI. Deepwater Asset Management's Gene Munster said Intel's decision to raise its capital spending outlook shows growing confidence in long-term customer commitments after the management said it would not increase investment without demand to support it. Quote, if you're an Intel investor, you've got to be counting your blessings, end quote. Munster said this on an interview with CNBC. At the same time, Munster said higher capital expenditures could weigh on the stock in the near term, while adding that Intel investors, quote, can sleep well at night, knowing that the company's 14A process technology could become a major catalyst in 2028. Remember, we talked about that process allowing them to compete in terms of the nanometer size of the semiconductors with Taiwan Semiconductor. So we'll see how well that's able to go. Now, if anyone has any comments on what some of the experts think here about Intel, I'd be very curious to know what you think about that. Now, let's hear what the CEO had to say. Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan eyes $100 billion custom AI chip market and backs $20 billion CapEx push amid an unprecedented demand for compute. So remember, we've talked about CapEx really kind of being one of the fears for investors with a lot of these AI names. But they keep reporting earnings and they keep telling us that demand is here and going to be here and going to be here for a while and no end in sight and all of those things. So we'll see which one of these ends up winning out. Intel, ticker INTC, is targeting a staggering $100 billion market for custom artificial intelligence silicon, averaging its robust x86 computing franchise and advanced manufacturing network as global AI demand skyrockets. During Intel's second quarter 2026 earnings call, CEO Lip-Bu Tan outlined the company's strategic expansion into purpose-built chips. Recognizing the growing necessity for specialized AI architecture, Tan highlighted Intel's unique position to dominate the space. Quote, I think, first of all, this is a massive opportunity. I think potentially it's over $100 billion TAM market, end quote. That came from Lip-Bu Tan. He pointed to strategic collaborations such as co-developing the next generation security processors with Fortinet, ticker FTNT, as prime examples of Intel's growing custom silicon momentum. To dominate this massive revenue pool, Intel is relying on its ability to handle both the creation and production of silicon in-house. Tan emphasized that the company's end-to-end capabilities create a distinct competitive moat against fabulous rivals. Quote, We are the only company that can design, manufacture, and build the entire range of computing solutions from general purpose, traditional CPUs and GPUs to more purpose-built ASIC and CPUs optimized for agentic AI, end quote. He further elaborated on how the company's legacy architecture plays into this strategy, went on to add, quote, we see tremendous opportunities to leverage our strong x86-based general purpose computing franchise to build more purpose-built computing products for the AI era, end quote. He also said, quote, AI is driving unprecedented demand for compute. As we continue to execute, Intel is well-positioned to capture sustainable growth across our CPU franchise, ASICs, advanced packaging, and vast wafer foundry network, end quote. Intel is already seeing tangible financial results from this strategic pivot. Chief Financial Officer David Zinsner reported that the company's application-specific integrated circuit, or ASIC, business is currently approaching a $2 billion run rate, with revenue nearly tripling year over year. Overall, Intel reported $16.13 billion in total second quarter revenue, a 25% year-over-year increase. AI-driven businesses contributed approximately 70% of that total. To support this unprecedented growth, Intel raised its 2026 capital expenditure guidance to over $20 billion to secure necessary tooling, memory, and substrates. Quote, strong demand for our products continues to outpace growing supply, end quote. That came from CEO Lip Bhutan. And he characterized the recent quarter as Intel's, quote, strongest revenue growth in more than 15 years. So, according to Intel, they're doing well, and they're bullish on the future. Looks like things are going to be okay there, at least according to their end. I'd be very curious, again, very much like the memory names, where do you folks sit on Intel? Is this one that you're likely to add on pullback as the semiconductor demand doesn't seem to wane at all? Makes sense to me. Would love to hear what you folks think about that. All right, now, next story here is going to be on Lockheed Martin. And this, we'll take a look at the chart here. It's been a while since we've taken a look at the Lockheed Martin chart. Here's what we got. Traded up 10.54%. And look at this. We are right at this trend line, gap filled. Oh, my. Now, we are above this trend line. Really, we want to see if we can keep moving higher here. 600 sure seems to be the next resistance level, followed by about 637, maybe 637 to 638-ish in there for Lockheed Martin. So this is kind of what we're looking at here on the daily chart. You can see this stock loves to kind of make these up and down moves, and it looks like maybe we're in one of those areas where you should be loading on Lockheed Martin. Now, let's take a look and see what's going on here. Lockheed Martin says record backlog will fuel sales growth for years to come. Lockheed Martin, ticker LMT, reported stronger than expected second quarter results on Thursday, driven by higher sales and earnings, and ended the quarter with a record backlog of $230 billion US. The backlog, the largest in the company's history, increased by about $64 billion from a year earlier. During the quarter, Lockheed secured several major defense awards, including a $35 billion Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD, interceptor contract, and a $3 billion Guided Multiple Launch Rocket System, or GMLRS, contract. The defense contractor reported GAAP-diluted earnings of $7.94 per share, which beat the analyst consensus estimate of $7.09 per share, according to Benzinga Pro. Revenue rose 11% year over year to $20.06 billion, and that topped Wall Street's estimates of $19.34 billion. Operationally, the company resumed F-16 deliveries, increased C-130 production, and advanced development of its Grizzly counter unmanned aerial system. Management also said it continued investing in advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, and strategic partnerships to improve efficiency and support long-term growth. Lockheed Martin said its record $230.4 billion backlog provides strong visibility into future growth after securing $65 billion in new orders during the second quarter, including a multi-year THAAD interceptor contract, new radar awards, and strategic space wins. The company posted a book-to-bill ratio of 3.2 to 1 and said that the expanding order book has already begun translating into stronger financial performance, with second quarter sales rising 11% year over year to $20.1 billion. Management said the deep backlog is expected to support sales growth for years to come. Lockheed raised its full-year GAAP earnings forecast to $29.95 to $30.65 per share. This is up from its prior outlook of $29.35 to $30.25 per share. The new range is above analyst consensus estimates of $29.86. The company also increased its 2026 sales outlook to $79.75 billion to $81.75 billion. That comes from a range of $77.5 to $80 billion. The updated forecast exceeds the street estimate of $79.14 billion. Lockheed expects its aeronautics business to generate fiscal 2026 sales of $31.7 to $32.7 billion. Management projects operating profit of $3 to $3.08 billion, and the company expects mid-single-digit sales growth in the second half, driven by higher F-35 production and sustainment activity. Lockheed forecasts missiles and fire control sales of $16.5 billion to $16.9 billion. The business expects to generate operating profit of $2.3 billion to $2.35 billion. Management said growth should accelerate in the second half as munition production expands. For rotary and mission systems, Lockheed projected sales of $17.7 billion to $18.1 billion. Management expects operating profit range to be $1.86 billion to $1.89 billion, and the company expects stronger second half growth supported by radar programs and higher Sikorsky production. Lockheed also raised its space segment sales outlook to $13.85 billion to $14.05 billion. Management expects the business to deliver stronger growth in the second half, driven by next-generation interceptor, fleet ballistic missile programs, and classified national security initiatives. So the war machine rolls on here. Lockheed Martin definitely a beneficiary of that, and they see more upside ahead. Doesn't surprise me with the conflict in the Middle East going on, to be quite honest with you. All right, let me see. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. I am producerless here today, so I apologize if I missed anything from you folks. Looks like we're all good here, though, so far. Okay, rock on, folks. We're just going to keep rolling. Okay, Eric, this is interesting. Eric saying, I think the AI trade may have reached peak speculation for the moment. I believe we picked back up in late September, but I think healthcare and energy are gaining momentum. So, Eric, really quickly on that, I actually don't think this would be bad. If we do kind of take a little bit of a pause here, if we did hit a momentum peak as you're outlining, and we take a bit of a pause here, I actually think that sets up for a next move higher. And the reason I'm confident about the next move higher here is because we're early in AI, just period. We are early in AI. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's multiple more runs, maybe in differing names here. But I actually think that a pause in some of the momentum right now actually benefits us for a bigger run later. And if it allows us to gather or buy up some of these really good companies at discounted prices, that should be even better for the P&L. Agree 100%. Boom. So that's the thing. That's why, like, when the stocks are high flyers and then they pull back, like those couple days of pullback after you're used to the stock trading up literally every day, those couple days of pullback are like, oh, what's going on here? But in the big scheme of things, it's actually probably not a bad thing, and probably also going to lead to another profitable trade. So that's why I'm always asking you folks, are we buying the dip or not? What do we think about all that? Okay, now we did have another deal yesterday. AMD's Anthropic and OpenAI deal powers $2 trillion in AI ambitions. This also has to do with Cerberus. I'm wondering if any of you traded that yesterday, but let's dive into the story here. Advanced Micro Devices, or ticker AMD, is pushing to unlock more value from AI infrastructure through large-scale Anthropic and OpenAI partnerships, new data center products, and deeper competition with NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. At a company event on Wednesday, AMD unveiled new data center products, including updated microprocessors and AI accelerator and the Helios server rack. AMD said its new offerings compare favorably with rival products. AMD also announced a strategic partnership with Anthropic and said it may invest up to $5 billion in the AI company in the future. In the future. We'll see. Under the deal, Anthropic will deploy 2 gigawatts of AMD Instinct MI450 series GPUs and AMD Helios rack scale systems, with its first gigawatt expected in the first half of 2027. Reuters reported this on Wednesday. Tom Brown, co-founder and compute head at Anthropic, told Reuters on Wednesday that access to compute remains central to keeping Claude competitive and meeting consumer demand. By the way, I don't know if I've ever asked this before. How many of you folks use Claude over all of the other models exclusively? Would be very curious on that. Anyway, the deal also adds to AMD's broader AI customer momentum. AMD previously announced a multi-year OpenAI agreement that could generate tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue and gave OpenAI the option to buy up to 10% of the chip maker. AMD chair and CEO Lisa Su told CNBC's Closing Bell from the Advancing AI event on Friday that the company sees a much larger AI infrastructure opportunity ahead, with Helios and Venice processors and a major customer deployments positioning AMD for growth in high-performance AI computing. Su said AMD sees the high-performance AI computing market reaching a $2 trillion opportunity over the next 4 to 5 years. She said AMD's Helios rack scale system and Venice processors are now in full production, marking a major step up in AI capability. She said the newest Helios system delivers more than 30 times the performance of the previous generation. Su also said AMD is seeing strong customer interest from Anthropic, OpenAI, Meta Platforms, ticker META, AT&T, ticker T, and Cisco Systems, ticker CSCO, amongst others. Su said OpenAI and Meta have discussed multi-gigawatt scale MI450 deployments, while Anthropic plans to deploy up to 2 gigawatts of MI450 in the Helios system starting in the first half of 2027. She said customers are focused on tokens per dollar as AI usage grows. Looking at you, Grok. Su said Helios offers more performance than competing systems with 10% to 15% performance advantage and up to a 30% benefit in tokens per dollar, helping customers improve productivity while expanding AI compute. AMD continues to challenge NVIDIA, which still dominates AI accelerators and generates far more AI data center revenue. The company projected the AI accelerator market could reach $1.4 trillion by 2030 and said its broader 2030 opportunity could reach $2 trillion across AI accelerators, CPUs, and related data center markets. Bloomberg reported this on Thursday. OpenAI executive Sachin Katti told Bloomberg on Thursday that the company expects to deploy Helios at massive scale as it expands AI infrastructure. AMD also announced a partnership with Cerebras Systems, ticker CBRS, to combine Helios and Cerebras servers for AI customers focused on faster response times. Cerebras CEO Andrew Feldman told Bloomberg that the company aims to move ahead of NVIDIA in that segment, with the first deployment expected in Cerebras data centers in the fourth quarter before broader commercial availability. Mark Cuban has argued that humanoid robots face major limitations. Oh, you know what? Sorry, that was actually that's the next story. I'm sorry about that. I actually might not have time to get to that story, but that one is actually kind of interesting. You know what? Mark's not here yet, is he? Nope. We're good to go. Let me get to that. Sorry about that. Let me get over to this story. I thought this was interesting, and I didn't have a break there, so I just kept reading. Apologize. Mark Cuban predicts that humanoid robots will flop on latency, processing power, dexterity, and specialized robots will win instead. So what he's talking about here is that the humanoid Optimus robots from Tesla are not going to be the mainstay robots. Instead, specialized robots like delivery drones or those little delivery robots that do the last phase of food delivery, they're the ones that are actually going to win out here. We'll see. But let's hear what he has to say. Mark Cuban has argued that humanoid robots face major limitations. While they may initially be popular for general household tasks, he actually believes that application-specific robots will emerge as the ultimate winner. Think Roombas. Cuban took to X on Thursday and stated that humanoid robots would initially be great novelties for simple household tasks like fetching a beer or folding clothes. However, latency, processing power, and dexterity, and the need for constant upgrades may impact the popularity of humanoids in the future. The Shark Tank star believes that application-specific robots will ultimately outperform them by being faster, more efficient, and less expensive. Now, the expensive part, I totally see. As a result, homes and workplaces will likely be redesigned to accommodate these specialized robots, a trend he says is already underway. Quote, logistics have already set this path, end quote. In another post, he expressed his belief that within the next 25 years, new buildings will be designed specifically to work with application-specific robots, or ASRs. While the transition won't happen overnight, he argued that as surely as 3D printing has made infrastructure like seawalls faster, cheaper, and more efficient, ASRs will drive an entirely new construction method and building designs optimized for specialized robotic systems. And actually, let me pause right here real quick because I don't have a producer and effed up. All right, so we are going to have Mark here, and Anne-Marie, if you're out there, you can actually disregard that first link because I sent you the wrong one too. Oh man, it's a Friday. We deal with stuff like this. This is just how it goes. Hopefully we get Mark to join us here in the next second. Now, let me continue. Well, I have to have everything queued up before I continue. Boy, Ryan, you're really dropping the ball here. Earlier this week, Michael Burry said humanoid robotics may not need its own chat GPT moment because generative AI has already experienced its biggest mass adoption breakthrough. Responding to a Nikkei report that Chinese robot maker Agibot believes the industry is still 2 to 5 years away from its GPT moment, Burry argued that chat GPT already transformed AI adoption. Yeah, he talked about college students cheating on papers. Tesla, ticker TSLA, NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, and Samsung Electronics, ticker SSNLF on the OTC, are accelerating their push into humanoid robotics. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has called the company's Optimus robot, quote, its biggest production of all time, end quote, while NVIDIA introduced its open source Isaac GR00T platform to support the development of next generation humanoid robots. Samsung has also expanded its robotics focus by forming a dedicated division, hiring a former Hyundai robotic executive, and increasing investments in physical AI. Last month, Faraday Future Intelligent Electric, or FFAI, launched the all-new futurist humanoid robot that natively supports NVIDIA's Sonic full-body motion control system. So we'll see which one ends up winning out here. I personally, I understand the thought about the novelty of a humanoid robot. So it's like almost having a Terminator, your own personal Terminator that gets you beer and folds your clothes, according to Mark. I get it. I just think that there's going to be something else that we can't necessarily forecast yet. I still think there's going to be a place for specialized robots. Who wants to buy a $5, $10, $15, whatever $1,000 robot when you can buy a $200 Roomba just to get your vacuuming done? You know what I mean? It just seems like there's a place for both of these, to be quite honest with you. All right, let me go back to Pro here. Mark, if you're ready, I know I butchered it here today. I'm sorry about that. I don't see your camera, but if you're ready, we'll go ahead and bring you on. And then we'll also share your screen and take care of whatever we need to. In the meantime, while you're getting that set up, let me take a look at the chat here. Mark Cuban is joining. I meant Mark Putrino is joining. Sorry about that. What am I missing? Mark makes a good point here. If it were this easy, then Optimus would already be available to us. Yeah. I think that he's kind of being pigeonholed into selecting one or the other rather than saying that there's a place for both. That's kind of where I sit on that. EKS says, just get a dog. Let me just be very clear here. As excited as I am for technology and some of this robotic stuff, there is no robot that will ever replace a dog. Dogs are wonderful. We don't deserve them. All animals are. That's just how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and bring on Mark. Let's see how he's doing. And let's have a Friday. Mark, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Can you see me?
I can. It's the camera angle's a little bit rough.
I can't figure out how to do this. This stupid computer reset itself, and now I can't figure out how to get my regular camera on.
So, it's probably in the little camera icon in StreamYard. There's a little drop-down arrow, and that allows you to select a different camera. You probably have multiple options if you have a regular camera as well as one built into the computer. That turned it off.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you guys
Either
all
way,
know what I look
look,
like.
we'll roll with it. Look, this is my fault, Mark. You get to blame me. I sent you the wrong link this morning.
No,
And you're like, what the hell's going
I think
on?
it has to do with that. I think it has to do with like, every now and then your computer like updates.
Yeah. And it changes
So,
the sources of some of those things. Yeah, totally. I was just trying to give you an out.
All right. Can you see
Sure
my screen?
can. It is shared. Looks like you're sharing. What is this? Looks like you're sharing the wrong screen, right? You're sharing the StreamYard tab.
All right,
there we go. There's TradingView. Yep, we're all set.
All right. So now I just got to fix my camera. All right. Anyway, so the markets continue to roll ahead here. I was actually looking at Oracle. This is what I'm going to write up for today for the stock of the day, just because this is the type of stuff that we look at, right? We got to a former support level and the shares are oversold. The key is just to kind of wait for the reversal to start. But if you think about it, this thing is down 50% since the beginning of June. That's quite a, that's the thing that people seem to forget. Like when you have these big rallies, well, you have big sell-offs as well. So anyway, could be time to buy there.
Oracle also had news this morning, Mark. They got another contract with the Pentagon. I think that was a $7 billion contract. Let me check my number on that. Yeah. $7 billion Pentagon deal news this morning on Oracle. So maybe that's what it needs to really kind of kick it into gear.
Yeah, that could be the catalyst. I mean, the markets look pretty good. I really don't see anything that looks bearish other than Tesla and maybe Amazon. But these sentiment numbers that we look at came out, and they were surprisingly big drop off in bullishness and a big jump in bearishness. Now, remember, this is a contrarian indicator here. If people are excessively bullish, it's actually time to sell. And that's because if people are excessively bullish, well, what happens? They invest all their funds, and then eventually the market runs out of buyers, and at that point it can only go down. Now, here is the historical norm for this survey, right? These people ask their members, are you bullish, bearish, or neutral? And historically, 31% are bearish, 31% are neutral, and 38% are bullish. Now, last April, at the very, very bottom of the market, when we had all this stuff with the tariffs, this bearishness exceeded 62%. Now, that was a great time to buy. So why is excessive bearishness a great time to buy? And the answer is, well, because the market runs out of buyers. And at the top, it's the opposite. When people get exuberant and euphoric, that's when it's time to sell, because the market runs out of buyers. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the market just looks pretty good. I mean, it's not overbought. It's
it's been trading sideways up here for a long time. I feel like it's kind of consolidating and getting ready to pick its next direction. And Mark, I'm an eternal optimist, so I'm in agreement with you. To me, I'm always thinking we're gonna eventually go higher here.
Yeah, and I don't know what to make of this whole situation over there in Iran, but let's see what oil is doing.
Oil actually backed off.
Yeah,
actually down 3.5%.
Yeah, backed off a little bit. Yeah. So let's see. What are some of the stocks I looked at this week? This one is pretty cool. Synopsis.
SNPS.
I can type this out.
SNPS. Sierra November Papa Sierra.
Yeah, now this kind of caught my attention. It hasn't reversed yet, but let's take a look at this. So as we know, in the market, you get price levels that are just more important than others. So at this price level here, it goes all the way back to, this is August of 22. And when we sell off, we tend to find support at former resistance levels and at former support levels. So this is on the radar screen. At this point, it's not really oversold anymore because it's gone sideways for a couple of days. So the way I think I would probably play this one would be if we cross above this little short-term resistance level in there, that's where I would consider buying it. So, if it gets up to around 400 or so, then and then you have this gap
Mhm.
here that we could potentially refill. So this looks kind of
So
interesting. There's
is
also
this a scenario where there's a setup and we're kind of waiting for the starter to say go? Gotcha.
exactly, but we're not oversold now. Even though the RSI is below 30, the fact that we've gone sideways for a couple days tells me that we're not oversold. These indicators, you have to understand the nuances of them. Obviously, they're not all perfect. Now, the RSI measures from time period A to time period B. It doesn't care about what happens in between. So if you're at 10 and you go to 1,000 and 14 time periods later, you crash back to 10, well, the RSI is going to say it's neutral because you're right where you started. Now, if we count back 14 time periods, the RSI assumes that we just went in a straight line. It doesn't really kind of realize that we've had these sideways days there. So now we would look for a different entry signal. I mean, I guess that could be part of it with the RSI, but I would probably wait for it to cross this level because the idea is
Okay.
you want to have some kind of conviction that or evidence, I guess, I don't know what the right word is, but that the sellers are gone. The people who pushed the stock down have finished their orders and they're out of the market. So this one was pretty interesting. There was some interesting action in Danaher, which is I don't really focus on volume too much, but was a stock of the day on
Hmm.
whatever day it was.
This is not a stock that we look at often, too.
Yeah, this is I don't really pay attention to volume too much, but in a situation like this, I think it meant something or it was a it was a bullish dynamic. Now the reason why is we can see that right we had this big sell off and we had this big spike of volume. Now this is kind of like an outlier. The volume is so big. Now the reason why could be a potentially bullish thing is because it shows a capitulation on behalf of the sellers. So when the dust settles and people start thinking, well, that news was bad, but the market overreacted, and they come in and they look for sellers, they have a hard time finding them because the sellers are all washed out. So the buyers are forced to outbid each other and push the price higher. Then you had this really strong price action where you open there and you close at the highs of the day. And not surprisingly, we had a follow through. So, I mean, I think this has probably run its course at this point, but that was a pretty nice little move there. And now I would suspect we're going to be hitting some resistance, kind of like right around here, which is where we're trading this morning, this former support level.
Now,
So, go
let
ahead.
me just ask you a really quick question here. I know that you said you don't often look at volume, but when you see outlier days like this, does this kind of change the calculus for you? Are you more apt to look into a move like this because of that volume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think it's a bullish dynamic. If it comes at the end of a like a downtrend, like there was this one here in PayPal back here. Now this one, just to put this in perspective, this is the most volume that ever traded in a single day on this particular stock. And simultaneously, this was the most oversold that it had ever been. So as trading went, this is pretty easy. So it comes down, and once the dust settles, people come in and they say, well, that news was bad, but the market overreacted. Let's go in and buy. And there's no sellers around. Now, this shows another interesting thing, too, that you see a lot. A lot of times, if you gap down, you get resistance at the level you gap down from. So one of the main reasons in a market why we have resistance is because we have remorseful buyers trying to sell things on the way up. Now, picture buying this here, and it's not like it just trickled down afterwards. It's like the market just like totally slaps you in the face.
Mm.
You buy it, and then this thing just falls off a cliff. So that makes people extra motivated to get out at break even if they eventually can. And that's, yeah. So look at that, like to within a point. This is kind of interesting here too. I haven't looked at the stock in a few days, but see where we ran into resistance
Mm-hmm.
right over here at the former support level. So yeah, it's pretty I think people really overcomplicate this stuff, but I just focus on the trends, the levels, the momentum. We got to remember what this is, right? People think that it's like math or chess, but it's really what we have to remember is this: what the market actually is. And it's the group of people, it's the herd mentality. It's people undercutting each other. It's hard to visualize in the electronic markets, but we have to remember that this is what this is. It's a bunch of humans, right? And if you walk into the crowd and you want to buy and you see like, oh man, I'm the only guy in this crowd that wants to buy. There's 10 people that want to sell. Well, you're not going to pay the last price because you're going to know that sooner or later those sellers are going to start undercutting each other. And it's the opposite with the buying, right? If a seller comes into the crowd and sees that there's 20 buyers and he's the only seller, he's not going to sell at the last price because he knows eventually those buyers are going to start outbidding each other and pushing the price higher. So we have to remember that this is not chess or math. This is psychology. Like the successful traders are more psychologists than anything else because that's really for the most part what drives these markets. I mean, you can't explain this in a million years with earnings or EBITDAs, how we can have the exact same valuation at these two different places and
And
then
Mark,
just lose that much valuation and so forth.
it seems to me that the electronic era that we're in now, all it does is it, for metaphorically speaking, increases the number of people in the room that you just showed. Right? The behaviors aren't different. There's just more participants. You show that picture, X amount of people can fit into that room. Right? That it can only hold so many people. But with the electronic era, it's just more people. But the same underlying premise is playing out no matter if it's 1908 or 2028, right?
Exactly. And if we look at this chart here from the old days, from the 1800s, you can see the same patterns that we see today.
Yeah.
Now, things probably took a little bit, well, I don't think there's any doubt that things took longer to play out back then, but it's the same stuff we see now: resistance at former resistance levels. Just like we saw with Oracle, it got to a former support
Mhm.
level, and at least for now, it found support. So it's really kind of extraordinary if you think about this. Like people didn't have cars back then, cars hadn't been invented, phones hadn't been invented. This is probably, you'd go down to your local telegraph office and telegraph your broker in New York City, or the local office might have a telegraph, but that would be, telegraphing orders in or writing letters. But yet somehow you get this same kind of this herd mentality. And it's really kind of amazing because most, contrary to what a lot of people think in the retail community, most people in the investment world aren't not looking at charts. Most investment people, at least the ones that I've encountered, the analysts, they're more interested in models. Like like the last firm that I was at, there was me and I had two assistant traders, and I would say there was maybe 20 other people that were quote unquote professionals, like the CIO, the chief investment officer, the analyst. They're more into models. They build a model and they pop in these parameters and it spits out, hey, PayPal is worth $70 a share. So they'll say, all right, we'll go buy it. Meanwhile, the guru who works at the hedge fund across the hall might put in his model and it pops out, hey, this thing is worth $44 a share. So we'll go sell. So that's why you get a market, is you get people with different opinions and so forth. Um, but that makes it even more amazing that if you look at these markets and you just consider, how big they are and the fact that you get these precise levels, it's almost like we're all trading on our own. We're all doing our own thing, but at the same time, we're all trading on behalf of the herd. It's like the universal consciousness or something. It's pretty weird stuff, but I don't know how else I could explain it.
Yeah, Lance here is saying, Ryan, people are not always rational, whereas computers, AI have some logic-based decisions. My pushback on that is that the logic that's programmed is programmed by people.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, and
you
it's going
can't
to be
escape
based
it.
on historical patterns and so forth. Got to remember there's a buyer and a seller on every trade. So if one day all of a sudden someone came up with a model that was always right, the market would just cease to exist. It would be obsolete
Yeah.
because no one's going to trade with someone who's always right, right? I mean, no one's going to sell their shares to the guy that's always right. So the market would just cease to exist. But it's it's everyone's trying to like build a better mousetrap and tweak things a little bit differently. And if you look at these indicators here, these technical indicators, I would be willing to say that probably 80% of these things are just ways of measuring momentum. Right? Everyone's trying to come up with a better way to do it. And it's this continuous thing that's been going on since the beginning of the market. I guess people have been trying to come up with better ideas, but ultimately markets exist because people have emotions, right? If people didn't have emotions, then the market wouldn't exist. I mean, this was down 1% yesterday. That might not seem like a lot, but that's trillions and trillions of dollars worth of valuation. And what changed? Like what happened? Even from what happened between 9:30 in the morning and 4 o'clock, that made the valuation change by so much. And so it's not really about, at least the way I look at it, it's not about like chess or math. It's about learning how to read the crowd. We go to think about a classic car auction. You're going to you're selling a 1969 Camaro, and the bidding starts at 100,000 and like 50 people show up to buy it. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to start outbidding each other and pushing the price higher. Now, what if no one comes and the person who's selling the car really needs the money? What are they going to do? They're going to reduce their prices until it finds a place where there's an equilibrium where someone's willing to buy it. So this is what we have to keep in mind here when you think about the markets, is think about the human element. And for example, look at these classic descending triangles, which can be pretty bearish. So we got to keep an eye on this. But basically, what's going on here? Well, the buyers are hanging out, and as time is going by, the sellers are getting more aggressive. They're willing to come in and sell at lower prices. So this pattern is an illustration of people that are aggressively selling. Now, if you're in the crowd and you're a buyer and there's 10 people that are selling and they're undercutting each other, you're going to step away. You're going to be patient until that price gets low enough. Mm-hmm. You can see the same thing happen back here. These patterns tend to be pretty reliable. So that told us that support was going to break, and then we found support at the former support level, which is it's pretty amazing stuff if you really stop and think about how big these markets are and how many trillions of dollars there are and how many millions of players. Look at this back here when all the tariff stuff was going on. Look at how close these prices are. 567.32. That's like the top there. And then the bottom here is 567.99. I mean, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
7 cents on $560 security. If you just think about how many billions of things all around the world have to happen for it to manifest itself in these levels like this, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. And I love this comment here from Alan. Alan saying the hardest thing for us to understand is what others view as their perception of common sense. Take politics as an example, which is a great one. This is why the markets move on emotions. Alan, I would completely agree with that. I would completely agree with that.
Yeah, it's true. If people didn't have emotions, then markets wouldn't exist. If it's a continuous, since the dawn of history, right? It's this continuous reversion to the mean. So now if we look at the last couple of weeks here, we've been in this pretty well-defined range, but what's going on here? Well, if you think about it, that's how you would draw the trend line or the the trading zone or whatever. But what is the real trend? The real trend is really this. And then it's like, well, the buyers overdo it, and then
Mhm.
the sellers overdo it, and then the buyers overdo it. It's just this continuous reversion to the
That's
mean that's
exactly
been
what we're
going
seeing in
on.
the broader market right now. That's an exact description of what we're seeing right now, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. That's just how people are. Like I go and I pick my daughter up, and she works at this kennel. And on the way home on the Merritt Parkway, it's maybe a 10-mile drive. It's always the same thing because it's during rush hour. You'll be going 70 miles an hour, and then you'll come to a complete stop. And then you'll go speed up and go 70 miles an hour, and then you'll go to a complete stop. If everyone just drove at whatever, say 40 miles an hour, you wouldn't have to slow down or speed up. But people overdo it. They speed up too much and then they slow down too quickly. So, the same behavior you see on the highway, you see here in the market. People just overdo it one way or the other.
All right. You guys have any stocks you want to take a look at here? You want Mark to break down? Mark, by the way, I really loved your car analogy there about selling the classic car. Turns out they actually do this in real life every year. It's called Barrett-Jackson, and apparently it's an absolute hoot to go to. I've never been, but I would
Really?
like to go at some point, even if I don't buy a car there.
Man, I saw this car yesterday. It was a Corvette. It must have been, if I had to
Of
guess, it would have
Corvettes.
been maybe a 67 or a
Split
68.
windshield or split rear?
Uh, it was it was a
Okay.
convertible Corvette, and it was like a bronze color. It was really cool. It was in Greenwich, which is a pretty wealthy area, so I would imagine it's just some rich guy's toy driving around. But anyway, those when you look at like a car like that, at least for me, that's like a work of art.
Yeah.
If I look at like the Tesla truck, I don't even know what the
Yeah.
hell it is. It's like
Neither do
the
raccoons. They think it's a
shuttlecraft from
dumpster.
Star Trek. Yeah, there's a lot of them around here, and now I see them in different colors too. I saw a green one the other day and a bronze one, but I don't know. I just think they're
Yeah,
ugly.
so do I.
But that's just
I'm not
me.
a huge fan either. Mark, if you have time, can we do SpaceX and Netflix?
Yeah, and then I do have a 9 o'clock meeting. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be playing any golf this weekend because I sprained my
Oh
foot.
no.
Yeah, I'm sitting here in agony, but yeah. So I have puts on this, and I mean, I think it's going to go. I just think it's going to keep dropping. Even if you see something like yesterday, the move was higher. It was an up day, but it's still in the
Yeah.
downtrend.
And it
So
didn't close above the previous day's candle high either. The body of the candle.
yeah,
No
exactly.
reversal there yet.
Yeah. So we talked about the stabilization bid. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And once that apart, that's where I bought my puts right there. So wow, look at that. So the stock's actually moved almost $30 since then.
Yeah.
And I guess it's going to keep going.
Yeah.
And
I think
this
so
is
too.
not unusual behavior. We've talked about this a lot. These hot IPOs come out, and they come out of the gate. They come ripping out of the gate, and then they crash, and then eventually they recover and become like a normal stock. Yeah, so look at Netflix. So Netflix looks pretty good. We found the support at the former. I mean, it's not really well defined, but that former support level. But that's some pretty decent action here. Now, I would say for this, if I didn't own it and I was thinking about buying it, I think the level would be like right there. Let's say if it gets to 70, that's where I would think about buying
Okay.
it.
And Mark, I know you got to go, but last question here, and this is a good one. How was the police ride along last week?
Oh, dude, it was so awesome, man. I got to tell you, it was really cool. Um, so basically, the highlight of it. Now, my brother is like, I didn't even realize what it had. He's like the head honcho. He like runs the whole show there on that Saturday night. He's
Yeah.
like the top guy. So they start off with the roll call, and there's this biker war going on. So where my brother's town is, there's the Diablos, and a couple towns over, there's the Outlaws. So 2 nights ago, or 2 nights before this happened, a week ago, one of the Outlaws disappeared. And then the next day, the Diablo showed up with a full patch. Now, for those of you who don't know biker gang stuff, you're considered a full patch member when you kill one of your rivals. So basically, they know that this Diablo guy killed the outlaw guy, but they can't do anything unless they can find his body. So that was probably the coolest thing of the night. The other thing was just a couple domestic disputes, drunk people arguing with each other, a couple medical things, but it was really cool.
I bet
it really makes you respect the police in a whole different way when you see what they really have to
deal with. I can't imagine. I have a couple of friends in law enforcement. They say the same thing too. Like, you really have no idea unless you go, did you wear the bulletproof vest?
Yep.
Right. Good deal. All right, Mark, head off to your meeting. I'm sorry about the sprained foot. I wish you a speedy recovery so you can get back on the links before we head into fall here. Have a good Friday. We'll catch you next week.
See you all next weekend or next week.
That is Mark Putrino, our resident CMT. As a reminder, please sign up for his Substack. He does a lot of great things over there. The education is really, really great. Sounds like he's starting up his school again. Be sure to check that out. But yeah, definitely subscribe. Mark Putrino's Substack. Now, I saw several of you folks were saying, where are the movers? Where are the movers? Well, I don't have a producer today, so I don't have a little extra screen to share. But you know what I do have still? We still have 13. Which means we're going to break down this movers list like a fraction. Let's start pre-market pulse right now. $13, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good today. How are you? How's everybody in the chat? I have been known to be a mover in my day.
Okay.
So, not these days, but here we are. So if you were wondering where the movers were, got one right here.
Okay. There you go. You mean you actually used to move furniture for other people? Like you did that as a job?
No, I did track.
Okay. So you ran.
Yes. There you go.
You jumped over stuff.
No, I didn't do hurdles.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
I did cross country, and that was terrible.
That's interesting. I know a lot about 13 because we've talked about a lot of things and we share a lot of similar interests, but I didn't know that. So even I learn something every day. You can teach an old dog new tricks, it looks like, 13.
Yeah, I moved a lot of places in my youth, but man, I hated cross country. That was a terrible decision.
Okay, well, at least you're able to laugh about it now. 13, where do you want to start here today? You have anything individual that you want to start? Do you want to look at the movers?
These movers, it's just a list of names we've already traded before, a lot of them. There's only a couple that were kind of new. We can just look at those two because that's all I looked at really was just the ones I haven't seen before.
Okay, perfect. And we did not have a lot of ticker time with Mark, and I did see a number of other stocks that were mentioned there. So perhaps we can do ticker time with 13 here. Let's start with the movers, though. Let me make sure I have this all set up. Let me refresh Pro because I don't have price quotes here. Oh, shoot. I left my VPN on. I left my VPN on 13. That's a me mistake. That's not anybody else's mistake. Let's see if we are able to get. There we go. There we go. All right. What did you have first on your list here?
I had Livewire. And then I had BNRG. It's just a short list today because a lot of these other names are either buyouts or names you've traded before.
Okay, then let me suggest this curveball here. We're going to start with MSS because it looks like it's got news breaking right now. So obviously you and I have not prepared for this, but we'll try and do it live here. MSS, big pop here. It looks like it went to about 534. It's coming back in a little bit, but it's still holding above the VWAP. Indeed, we do have a new piece of news here today. Mason Solutions signs a definitive agreement to establish Mason AI tech platform to focus on AI solutions for grocery, retail, supply chain management, and enterprise operations. Okay, I'll be honest. This is not a stock I am at all familiar with. I am definitely going to have to lean on the AI to break down that PR. We'll do that here in a sec. Really quickly, this company is a fast-growing specialty grocer. So it looks like they're adding AI to what they do here. Okay, a quick peek at the short interest on this name. 5.26% of the float is shorted. 1 day to cover. And our float here, micro float. Boy, just over 500,000 shares. Now we know fits into that theme. 13, do you have anything yet on MSS?
Just looking through their PR, the paragraph that stood out to me so far is this one. Mason AI is intended to combine Mason Solutions retail operating experience with existing software assets and AI-enabled technologies. The platform is expected to focus on inventory management, merchandising, procurement, vendor coordination, supply chain automation, enterprise resource planning, data analytics, AI agents, and related software services. So this is encompassing their entire business to essentially manage all the day-to-days.
Yeah, and going through the PR here, it also looks like a part of a broader strategic shift toward AI-enabled growth and operational efficiency, and not just like its own experiment. A couple of things we probably have to watch here, though, whether the formation and the capitalization of Mason AI actually close on the stated terms. We don't know if that's the case, and whether the software contributions are valuable enough to create a defensible product. Interesting. Strategic transformation story, but obviously this is going to depend on the execution.
Yeah, there's also a very low float here, 568,000 according to Pro. The short interest is 5% and change. I don't think that's going to really be as impactful here. I think we're just wanting to look at the float and understanding that this could get maybe taken for a ride. Financials, let's see here. It's a good amount of money. Not profitable, but it looks like it was at one point. Still pulls in, around 25 to 35 million a quarter. Balance sheet, it looks like they're accumulating debt a little bit too much here. So I think that would be the big concern is their debt. Other than that, I mean, nice that we've got AI completely, almost entirely running a business here.
By the way, this just split. Good mention there. This is Yalt. I don't know how to pronounce alt. I'm just going to say alt because it's easier for me. They recently just did a 1-for-5 reverse. That was on the 22nd of this month, 13.
This week they did. Yep.
Yeah, this week. And it looks like the last one was back in April. That was 1-for-10. Okay, so that's a recent splitter there. Okay. Yeah.
Let's look at some levels real quick so we can get an idea of where this may trade to. Oh, what do you know? I've got levels for this already. So we must have
bang, bang, bang.
played with this one before. So, okay, so 475, that's one resistance level. No closes, no candles closing above that. We've only been hitting that with wicks. We did have the previous candle on the 5-minute chart go all the way up to 534. That's shy of the 550 level that I've got here. Now we're coming back in. So I would say if we can hold, I want to say 3, but I'm not sure if that's, what, let's just go with 3. That looks like the spot that we just kind of broke out of based on the price action we've been getting this past, this past week. Been trying to get over 3, haven't really been able to after we lost it. What was it, last week? So let's lean on 3 as support for now. And if it turns around there, then we'll look back to recapturing 4.
Okay, sounds good. Really quickly, I just wanted to address one comment in the chat here. Welcome back, Jay. Back from golf. Where did you golf? How did you shoot, of course? What did you do to the indexes? Actually, it was a bit of an embarrassment. 13 and I were having an argument, and I accidentally kicked the cord out of the computer, and it stopped buying stuff, so we started to leak a little bit. Sorry about that, Jay. We'll see if we can plug that back in there for you. I kid, of course, but welcome back, Jay. All right, 13, what do you want to do next year? Do you want to do Livewire? Do you want to, I know Vivek is kind of we already know what's going on here.
Right, that's one of the ones I was like, oh yeah, we already know about that, so we can just keep an eye on it and trade it if it does something, but we already know what this is.
Yeah, next level on Vivek, by the way, just shy of 4, so I actually think you have some room there, but let's do Livewire here. The ticker on this one is going to be LVWR. This is Livewire GR. You can see this was a penny stock yesterday, traded all the way up to 209 before coming back in. Now we have the dreaded pre-market formation on the junker. All right, big pop, drag people in, coughing up the VWAP, an attempt to recapture the VWAP, and a straight up failure to do so. Short interest on this name, 10.7%. I think that's 1 day. Oh, no, 4.2 days to cover. I beg your pardon. So we actually might have a little bit of a squeeze action there. This did report earnings yesterday morning, but I haven't seen anything fresh since then. So maybe there's a delayed reaction. Float here, 23.5 million. 13, what do you think here on Livewire?
So Livewire is a electric bike company that was originated with Harley Davidson. If you remember, they had an electric bike. This is what it was. They spun off in 2022 and became their own company. And since then, it hasn't really done that well. So, but this is, it still has revenue, still has cash. It's not profitable. It does have some short interest. So that could have contributed to why we saw that move in the after hours yesterday. This has been, coming in ever since we had that pop yesterday. I think I would just be patient and wait for this to open, and then it might trade a little bit better. I still expect this to come down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. It just has been in a steady, slope down ever since that after hours pop. So I would just be taking it easy with this one until we actually open and start to get some kind of volume into this, because it doesn't look like there's a whole lot there.
Yeah.
The downside, I've got 125 right about where we're at, or just underneath it. That's the next support. So looks like we might lose that in this candle. We have about 2.5 minutes left. And if we do turn around, the 65 EMA is going to be the big resistance I'm going to be watching for to recapture.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown there. LVWR. We'll see what we end up getting out of that. Now, all right. I can't remember what else you had on your list. Bren Miller Energy. I know we've traded this before.
Yeah, it must have been a while.
BNRG. Okay. So let's see. Is this one? Let's see what this is good. This went up to 140, came back, doesn't have the dreaded formation, actually was able to get back above the VWAP. So maybe there's something left on the bone here. Bren Miller Energy announces European Investment Bank waiver to defer its upcoming loan payment under the March 2021 credit facility. Okay. Definitely, that's about its growth strategy. I definitely am going to need AI to help me out with that. But taking a look at the short interest, 5.24%, 1 day to cover on that. Float 2.11 million shares. So this is still kind of a low float. What do you think here, Bren Miller?
So this waiver is in regard to a 1.7 million euro payment that's due in July. And that basically comes out to just shy of $2 million. If you go to their financials and you look at their balance sheet, I guess we could look at it on an annual basis. Yeah, that should be fine. You'll see that the current portion of long-term debt is about $2 million. This is the debt in question that the headline is regarding. So this waiver is good until September 15th, and it's all part of a settlement plan that the bank is working out with this company. So this is essentially just giving them some time to get this settlement taken care of without having to make the $2 million payment that's coming up. Or it's happened. It's supposed to be happening. I think it's supposed to be today. Now, one thing that's also a little bit of a concern here is that you can see earlier this week on Monday they filed to sell up to 7.2 million common shares. They do have a float of 2.1. So I think this is a potential capital raise issue on the table here.
Yep.
So something to keep in mind that we could see this share dilution event happen as early as today. The company does have very little revenue. It does have some cash, and it is not profitable. So that's what's going on here with BNRG. There's some very much downside risk here, but we also could get this thing pushed up higher because of how low the float is.
Okay, really good stuff there, BNRG. Now, ADVB, this has been a runner here for us this week. 13, I don't know if you kind of see the same thing here, but boy, oh boy, I kind of got a trend line going here. Look at this. Kind of ran into some resistance there today. We'll see if we're able to get above that. ADBV, remember, this is the Taiwanese stock. Stock is up 37% here today. Let's see if there was anything fresh on this. Nope. No fresh news here. Quick reminder of the short interest, 1.52% with 1.05 days to cover. 13, we got multiple requests to give levels and cover this chart. Do you feel good about doing that? Can I step away for just a sec?
Yeah, and thanks for that trend line, because I just drew mine and it's pretty much the same thing. So I love it. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this trend line here, because we during the price action so far this morning, we've only really had several 5-minute candles close above it, but not consistently enough to actually establish support here. You want to see at least 3 candles above a certain resistance area before we can say, okay, well, that's starting to become support now. So haven't really had that. We did get a little bit of price action above the trend line around the end of closer to 7 this morning. Couldn't get the multiple closes above it. Came right back beneath it. We're still struggling with this trend line, but we're currently above the VWAP right now. So I think what I would be keeping an eye on is VWAP or support, which I have at 2245 right now. But if we lose that, we're coming down to the 2050 area down near where the 65 EMA is. That's going to continue to climb as well while the price is up here. So $20.50 is where I think one of your support levels is. It also looks like you may get some support from 2175. That would be the next one right beneath the VWAP that I would be looking at, but I think your stronger one's going to be down at 2050. Because if we lose that, and we'll have to see if Ryan has it when he comes back, it looks like you're going to get a pretty significant drop if you lose that 2050 area all the way down underneath 22, about 1885, 1890. Brian, do you have a fair value gap from about 2050 to 1875?
I have a fair value gap intraday here today from 22 to 1850.
Okay, that's still good enough.
So and really quick, let's just since we're talking about this, let's just go over it real quick. Okay. Fair value gap, 3-candle pattern. My fair value gap is going to be done on a 15-minute chart. So that's looking right in here to about right here. Here is your fair value gap. And you were real close, just eyeballing that, to be quite honest with you. So well done there. Here it is, though.
And what's interesting about that is that that's very close to VWAP, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's actually right beneath VWAP. Yeah, it's about 50 cents beneath VWAP, but also the 65 EMA is smack dab in the center of the zone.
Okay, so we got some support levels that we've identified here, a fair value gap. So we have some areas that are could be good for entry. Let's see where take profit levels are. Certainly, recapturing VWAP may be a take profit area for some, as is a break through the trend line that we drew. If we do get all that, maybe 25. Let me look to the left here and see if I can find anything else, because that's going to tell us where some of these folks that are trapped up here at this price want to get out. And it might be a little while before I find something here. Oh, here we go. The hour chart helped out. All right, let's see. All right, not until so May. It looks like May we actually had some sideways consolidation right about where the price is at. Okay. From about the 14th to the 30th. So basically the last half of May, there appears to be some consolidation that the price is at right now. And it looks like that consolidation is from about let's say $22.50 to $25. Maybe you could even go $25.75 with some of these wicks that are appearing above $25. So I think that would be some of the areas I'd be looking for some maybe trimming or taking profit at 25, 27 area if we do get above there. If we do go past that, then there's resistance coming in the 28 and 29 handle.
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown there, Kath. Let me know if that helped. Really awesome stuff there. And then let's see, JEM. This is one of our other runners here. This is just kind of getting rolling here again. This is the Cayman Holdings. One thing to note here. This thing's not all that great in the regular session. It does get these nice moves in the pre-market. Yesterday's regular session, aside from the one quick spike higher to the VWAP, it was kind of boring. Then in the after hours, it roared to life again. And guess what? In the pre-market here today, roaring to life again. So just kind of keep that in mind here with JEM. Did you have any levels for this that you wanted to cover?
Oh, let's see here. Well, we just broke through that VWAP. I think that's pretty significant. We're coming up to some other resistance levels from the after hours yesterday. So we could see some selling here pretty soon. If you look at the price action last night, getting up into the 7 handle seems to be a tough spot for the price. Seems like there's sellers up there. But let's say we do get past 7. I think I see a trend line here from the wicks in the after hours going into the pre-market. And if we just draw a trend line from those 2 wicks, that gives us an upside target of around, let's say if we spike out of the open, we could see this go to 850.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It's encouraging that we're trading above the VWAP for the moment. We just have that resistance that we're dealing with in that that $7 area.
All right. Really good stuff there. And then last here, I think, unless you had something else, is going to be SkyQ. This is another one that's been moving with the other oil names. SkyQ here. This actually had a double top around 620, 625 yesterday. Here we are gapping above that. We are holding above the VWAP. So maybe we make a move towards 7 pre-market high there, 713. Quick reminder of the short interest here on SkyQ, 14.74% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover, float of 4.5 million. You have any other levels on this one, 13?
This one looks like it's having a hard time with the upside right now, and it could be preparing to come in a little bit more. We're near the VWAP, or at least my VWAP, and I would be watching for a loss of that. If we do start to come, if we do go beneath VWAP, then I think that there's going to be several support areas to watch for. It looks like 640 and maybe even 625 all the way down to $6 itself would be the next few support levels that I see if we lose VWAP. I don't know where the turnaround is going to be, but if we do lose VWAP, I would think that the 65 EMA test is likely coming. It just doesn't look as strong to me right now. So if we do hold VWAP, then maybe that stance will change. But it looks like this is it's putting pressure on VWAP right now.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there. Now, do you have anything else on your list that I did not cover?
The only other ones that I wrote down, SAFT, that's a buyout, so there's no trade there.
Okay.
We saw Vivek,
Yep.
We saw Gem.
CJMB from yesterday, WLDS, Wilds, you kept calling it yesterday. These two are again on the list here, but I don't think there's anything fresher. ZCMD out there, be careful.
Yeah, nothing new with these previous names that we've traded, but still worth keeping an eye on in case they provide a trade.
Yep, sure. And then real quick here, Big Bees. When American Airlines is the most up on your watch list, it may be a sit on your hands day and early weekend. And look, as soon as this show is over, I'm getting into the car and going to the lake house. So I am with you on early weekend, Big Bees, no question. And then before we take a look at stocks here, if anyone is interested, so yesterday, the bot that was running, it's still paper trading here while we get a proof of concept ironed out here. I discovered a huge bug that even Grok complimented me on finding. Basically, the signal price, so when the trade is set to fire, and the fill price were vastly different. And in the case of a WDC trade, it was $17 different. In the case of a Micron trade, it was $30 different. I've developed some changes and deployed those here today. Bot made negative trades yesterday, made positive trades yesterday, even with the bug. So I'm very optimistic to see how it goes, even if we have a really poor tape here today. Things are going well. I will continue to update you. That's all I got until we actually get some more data here. Looks like PN is getting requested here by Fake Beat. PN is PN Smart Energy. This is a China name. Let's see if it fits our China pump. This thing ripped on Wednesday into the after hours. Slow grind yesterday on low volume. Pop again here today in the pre-market. Stocks up 14%. We haven't had fresh news on this since June 15th. So this looks like one of our China runners moving with no news. It has no short interest. It doesn't have the micro float, but it still has a very small float, 7.65 million shares in there. This can absolutely get pushed around, especially if traders are bored. 13, one other thing, looking at some of these peaks, kind of got a trend line here. Now, let me ask you a strategic question. Sure. When you have a setup like this, when you got 3 points in which you're trying to connect with a trend line, but they don't perfectly line up, which one do you like selecting? The consecutive one or the most recent one?
Well, I thought consecutive meant like right after. So the one right afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Let me be very clear here. So the first point where we are in agreement. This is from Wednesday's after hours. The second, my two choice next are going to be the 2 peaks from this morning. So the next consecutive one, I guess you could make the argument that it was the one in the after hours. Basically, what I'm asking you here is this morning, which high are you connecting this trend line through, and do you have a method to your madness?
Usually I just go with the first 2. So it would be, even though we got like 2 really close together, a couple of days ago in the after hours. Yeah. Either one really, I don't really think it makes a difference. They're both right next to each other. It's like the very next after hours that we're looking at to connect.
Okay, so it's this one then. And we had the 2 peaks in the pre-market go above the trend line, not be able to hold it. So that's still intact. Okay, great. I just wanted to go for that lesson there. So, okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to do, or should we take tickers from the group?
I thought that it was interesting that Oracle received some news about a 10-year contract with the Department of War. And we did get a little bit of a rise overnight, and it's kind of given that back. So it doesn't seem like that's enough.
Okay, so that was the $7 billion Pentagon deal.
Yeah.
Real quick, HP Darkside Hemi asking about Mob X here, which I know is one we've traded before. This went up to 240 here today, came back in, lost the VWAP, can't get above it. It's that formation that we don't like. We did have a piece of news here. MobX Lab signs a definitive agreement to acquire Vision Aerial, accelerating global drone platform for national security and artificial intelligence. It's going to acquire that drone maker for $15 million in cash and stock. So I would probably have AI break down that PR and see what kind of what the impact on the stock's actually going to be. It's up 8.8% here today. I don't love the formation. I would maybe watch for a curl and a move back towards VWAP.
They did a reverse split earlier this year, 1 for 10. Let me pull up the chart here. Just looking at some of the other aspects of the company. I mean, it looks like this wants to try to get back up to VWAP. It's kind of on its way. Still looks like there could be some resistance around the 215 area, which is a little bit shy of the VWAP that I have. So I think that for now I would just kind of lean on 65 EMAs and 200 EMAs support, VWAP as resistance. I don't know how great this one's going to be. Let me look into this a little bit more.
Okay, no problem. Now, and that's fine. We can go through that if we need to. All right. What other stocks do we want to? We got less than 2 minutes here. I don't even know how much time we're going to have to do that. I'm going to flip over to the main workspace and see if anything's moving on the scanner. The bot's ready to go. We got a healthy heartbeat there. We're in good shape.
I think when it comes to MobX, I guess I'd be concerned about where all this money's coming from. They don't seem to have enough of it.
Well, I think that's why they're also doing it with stock, and that's why I think the impact on the stock is going to be important for this.
Yeah, it's cash and stock, so I think that sounds like a dilution event anyway.
Yeah, it's exactly. It sounds like they're creatively packaging a dilution into that. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know how great this one's going to be, but I think I would just kind of lean on those indicators that I just mentioned as support and resistance levels. 200 and the 65 EMAs, those are support. The VWAP is resistance at this current stage.
Okay, SPY here at the lows into the close, NASDAQ into the lows at the close, or right ahead of the open. Did I just say close? It's morning. Come on. Come on.
Super short day.
Super short day is right. Super short day is right.
Looks like GEM had a pop, and then it's coming back in, trying to get some support from the previous resistance levels in the earlier in the session here. If it does get that support, and we as we go into this open, look for a break above 725.
Okay, see what we get there. All right, you guys are saying CoreWeave pulled back below 80. That's okay. We were kind of asking about the AI trade earlier. Again, I think a lot of these kind of taking a break.
But Intel was looking good. Intel had a nice earnings report, but it gave it all back.
Right, we are open.
All right.
SPY's first move right off the open was higher, but I would not trust it at all. That's already fading.
SkyQ, right before we opened, it dropped beneath VWAP, recaptured it, and it's trying to push up. But now it's also, getting some sellers to step in here as it approaches 7.
CoreWeave also fell out of the open there, by the way.
MSS. This looks like it's trying to get moving here. Volume could be better, though. And SkyQ pulled.
ADVB pulling a little bit here. SPY is still trying to hold that 738.5 low. VLOW possible break into single digits. Netflix big pull. Apple spike up to 325. Okay.
ADVB recapturing VWAP. SkyQ back up again. Just watch for those sellers at 7.
Yeah, ADVB looks like it's flirting with 23. I actually just saw it get taken there and then refreshed and refilled with more stock for sale. So 23 would be a level I'd be looking at right now. GP Gary saying Apple hot off the bell indeed. It looks like 325 stopped it. I would rewatch 325 and see if we get through that. This ADVB is spread like crazy, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I couldn't see any other price action on my ladder. Just looking at SpaceX because we were supposed to get a launch yesterday. Fortunately, we had some thunderstorms in the area, so they decided to scrub it until today. We'll see if we end up launching today.
Okay.
But if not today, then there's still a chance to launch tomorrow on Saturday.
Okay. SPY continuing to trade up. We are possibly going to recapture the VWAP here on SPY, and also S&P futures not far away from VWAP either. So that would be something to watch. And ADVB, despite that spread, did pop back above 23 here. And there we go. It looks like it's going to 24 now. There's 24 on ADVB. So a tough one there with the spread, but looks like we're getting that move higher now.
Yeah, it's trying to get in that 24 handle.
It sure is.
SkyQ still struggling with 7. MobX, that just was awful. So this just spiked down after it lost the 200 EMA.
I think our concerns about the dilution were warranted.
Yeah. Let's see, PN. This is at 11, trying to get back above the 65 EMA. Maybe there's something here with this one, but volume needs to be better.
Seeing Apple calls cross the wire here as Apple retries 325 to the upside. Netflix on that pull to 68, some of that got bought too.
Big rejection, ADVB.
That spread has me avoiding ADVB, by the way.
Livewire, interestingly, turning back up, recapturing the 65 EMA, coming up to some resistance levels here. It looks like maybe 140.
Sell mentioning Starwood getting to the lows again. I still think that the whole deal with Starwood's underlying price moving lower is just kind of the let's call it murky waters of the interest rate thing. I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing this move lower. Nothing at the company seems to be out of place there. They still pay 48 cents a share. So any ads under 17 seem pretty good to me.
SkyQ coming into the 65 EMA now. So there's what we were looking for, that weakness. Could be some support here with the 65 EMA. It is a really good spot for support, so we'll see if it holds up.
Yeah, it looks like definitely some pullback here. Apple seems to be the standout, though. Bitcoin also, that's at the day lows here, 64,000 on the futures. SPY is still holding that low. It's actually above VWAP. It's flirting with that. And S&P futures now flirting with VWAP.
MobX is coming down to, it just got some support from 185. If you look to the left on this 5-minute chart, you can see that on the 16th, that was also the low intraday. Back on the 10th, that was also the low intraday. 185 might be a spot here for MOBX.
Okay. See if anything else. Gem halted. Let me see what this did. Is this halted? Oh, halted to the downside. Wow, big pullback there on Gem, getting rid of all of the pre-market gains that it saw and then halting. Okay, now we're in the first trade window here for the SPY. So we'll see if, and S&P futures testing the VWAP right now. We'll see if we make a meaningful move above this on SPY.
Yeah, 140 is still the resistance level I've got on watch. It looks like in the pre-market here, we did get above 140 and had trouble with 740 and had trouble with 741. That rejection took us back beneath 740. So looking for a recapture. 740 is a big level in my opinion.
Okay. The bot just took a 0 DTE call position on the Qs. See if that ends up working or not.
PN
doesn't look great.
PN is still trying to climb higher. Got rejected just above 12, around 1225, but still hasn't given back VWAP or the EMAs yet. Oh, MobX still continues lower. BNRG under $1. Nothing really looking great today.
No, nothing looking great at all. And that Q's just pulled right back in the bot's face on that entry.
Okay, maybe it's another short ETF day.
PN, this, interestingly enough, that went right to the VWAP there. Stopped out. Wow, 0 for 1 on that bot. Really bad start to the day here on that Q pull. But that actually should give me some good data to see what happened there, because that looks like an immediate pullback.
Intel going down. Yeah, it did give back all. It lost 100, gave back all that upward price action. Must have been a lot of talk. The CEO said that the market didn't like to hear. But I think one of the things that I think everybody is concerned about is the CapEx. Because even Intel is saying that they're expecting CapEx to be larger in 2027. Same thing with what Google was saying. So spending is ramping up. And I think that's causing a lot of concerns.
Yeah. So here's one of the quotes from that Intel report. This is from CEO Lip Bhutan. I think, first of all, it's a massive opportunity. I think potentially it could be over $100 billion in TAM. He was talking about like a custom silicon push and how this can really help specialized AI infrastructure. And he also pointed to a possible deal with Fortinet for being able to do that. There was also AI is driving unprecedented demand for compute as we continue to execute. Intel is well positioned to capture sustainable growth. So they're saying there that they're going to keep going. And then also they said that demand is going to keep going. I'm looking for, there was another quote in here.
3 to 5 years.
For our products continue to outpace our growing supply. So that's why the CapEx spend is what it is.
Yeah. There was one headline in here right after they had, okay, here we go. Intel signed long-term agreements with customers to supply CPUs and XPUs. Intel's long-term chip supply agreements range from 3 to 5 years, with some including both volume and price commitments. This is, this speaks very, very highly to the runway we're looking at here with this whole AI theme. We're talking about this going into the 2030s. That's into the 2030s.
Intel continuing to pull here, sub 100 now on Intel, by the way. Zach, it's still a newbie. It buys just before the drop. See, that's what we're doing. We're trying to get this logic figured out so it doesn't do that, right? That's the whole goal there, indeed. That's why you do paper trading first. And that's the other thing. One of the things that I've learned here about some of the work that I do after hours on this, if you're going to do something like this, definitely test it thoroughly, because there's a lot of things that come up that you don't necessarily anticipate, and the AI can really kind of help you learn from that. So the way I look at this is bad trades, bad paper trades from the bot are going to serve as really good learning experiences for moving forward.
Keep an eye on ADVB. It got some support from the 65 EMA. It's trying to recapture the VWAP.
Did the spreads get better on that at all? ADVB. Let's see. Starwood, by the way, back in the green. And ADVB, that was a nice pullback right to the VWAP. You're right about that. Spreads still terrible, though. At least for me. I guess that's a personal thing for me. That's
SkyQ getting a push through VWAP. So this went down to the 65 EMA. Pretty sure this is one of the spots we were looking for support. Yeah, because it turned around there. It's trying to climb back up, but volume needs to be better if we're going to break those highs from the pre-market.
Glenn saying Velo headed for a 786 fib level of 792. Weekly support down there as well. ADVB sitting right at this VWAP. Boy, that is definitely finding some resistance there, 13. Definitely.
How's volume? Volume in the market is... That can't be right. Okay, that's better. Still not great, but it's not the 398,000 that it said it was a moment ago, but still 2 million. 2 million shares traded in the first.
That to me, 13. I don't know if you feel the same way. That to me tells me that we're in for a low volume day here today.
Yeah,
that's what it tells me. That's my read through on it.
Yeah. So this is where the idea of trading those short ETFs may be the better way to go today.
Yeah.
Do in and outs.
If you get any pops, maybe look for entry on the short ETFs. I think you're probably right on that.
Look at our GTZ, for example. We kind of popped out of the gate and went sideways, and then captured VWAP, and now we're taking off here. Might get another 5-minute candle that looks just like this too.
RGTZ indeed taking off. Livewire LVWR, which we talked about, this is curling towards the VWAP. VWAP 146. That's the level we want to see what happens there. ADVB, by the way, still flirting with that VWAP. Can't get above it yet.
BNRG, this got rejected. The 65 EMA lost the 200 EMA. So this may end up coming in some more. And I don't know if it's going to have any recovery.
Bernhard, this is one of my favorite messages that I'm going to get to read. I love reading these all of the time. Register rate for you. Made 1K on Vivek in the pre-market, and I'm off to play golf. Way to just win life, Bernhard. Really good stuff.
Now Starwood still climbing up slowly. NVEC. I don't know why I have this on here, but I must have looked at it for some reason. That came down to its 200 EMA and is trying to get back up to the VWAP. Livewire is still looking good.
Verizon reported earnings. This is higher. Watch for 45.50 on a breakthrough. AT&T also higher, perhaps on the back of those Verizon earnings. CJMB pop. Let's take a look at that. Billy, the human chat scanner, indeed, and we're above yesterday's intraday high.
When did AT&T report? I thought they did recently. Yeah, they did a couple days ago. I wonder why they didn't go. Why they're going off of Verizon's.
I guessed. I don't even know that. That's
no, you're probably right. It could be a relationship trade, but I'm just kind of wondering what's why wouldn't it do that a couple days ago when they reported earnings and they. Well, I guess they didn't guide very well, so I guess I can understand that.
Oh, wow. Big trade here on SanDisk, folks. SanDisk, these are the 1410 puts. So they're out of the money puts. Expire August 7th. 104 contracts. Traders spent 1.3 million on that.
Yeah, a lot of the space names. Let me look at the watch list because that's probably a red watch list today. Yeah, this is a red watch list today. We didn't get our Starship launch yesterday, and I think that the space theme is very closely tied to how SpaceX goes now. So
yeah, definitely,
if we're gonna get shared dilution and shares to unlock, then there's probably going to be some more pain in the space theme. But I don't think it's out and down.
I think SpaceX is your space theme proxy, right? Like that the whole theme goes as SpaceX goes.
Yeah. Yep. So it's going to experience weakness for a time, but I don't. If you have a long-term horizon, then this is going to be just fine in the future. I'm not worried about it.
See there on SanDisk, that's a wild option print there.
Momentum on EQIX. That's the one of those data center REITs, I believe.
Looks like Tesla's marginally lower. We'll see if it breaks yesterday's intraday low.
Yeah, so this thing taken off probably on this on all these bullish comments that this AI data spending or the data center spending is not stopping. It's good for those REITs. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so the Livewire is pulling a little bit here. Sky Quarry's trying to recapture 65 EMA. ADVB is caught between its 65 and its VWAP.
Koru, this is the daily South Korea 3X Bull ETF. This getting smoked, down 12.5%. Dara wants to know if anyone is an Intel bull now from earnings. I think you need to let that one settle, right? Morning Lion.
Yeah, I don't think that the semiconductor market's really ready to turn around just yet, but once it does, Intel's going to be a good one.
I agree. I think one of the things that you said, I feel like a couple of weeks ago at this point, chips are so in demand. If they make chips, those stocks are going to respond. Right? Like I understand that Intel doesn't have the highest, most, technologically or advanced chip, but there's so many of them. The need is so great. It's not going to matter, especially when things turn around. ADVB, nasty pull.
Yeah, and I would say let's just wait and see what happens in the next several years when they're supposed to be coming out with all new types of processes. They're going to have their 18A process. They're supposed to be having a 14A process at some point.
Yep.
These are all going to be done over the next several years, and some of those processes could feature some new materials like the molybdenum disulfide that I've been talking about, or new ways of assembling these. I think it's more of the transistors that they're referring to with directed self-assembly, but directed self-assembly is a technology that Intel, Samsung, and TSM are all working on.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things to look forward to here with the chip market. But right now, I think we're just getting a lot of selling off from all the exuberance that we've experienced in the past.
And we talked about this earlier before you jumped on. That would actually be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually be a good thing if it cools down and gives us a better entry.
You know what, Jay? That's right. DLR also did report earnings. That actually might be the reason, one of the reasons why you're seeing EQIX take off. They're pretty much in that same space. DLR is 12%. Yeah. DLR is a data center REIT. EQIX is a data center REIT.
I got a buy signal 2 minutes ago on the SPY. Sorry, that's a little stale. I wouldn't chase it.
Oracle is at a 52-week low. Again. Did we actually get the? Oh wow, that was a nasty drop there. Let's see, where is this at? Because we were really close to those lows from April 2025. Actually, we're underneath it, so we're more than 52 weeks now. We're like, 104.
This is a break of 120. We've actually been talking about 120 a lot here on Oracle. By the way, I think if you back test this 120 level at all and can't get back above it, that probably is going to serve as decent entry for a short intraday trade. Oh, I don't even know if we're going to get a retest of that. We'll see. Apple testing 327. Apple's chart is straight up so far. Looks awesome.
And Oracle is super, well, not super oversold, but it's getting to the point where it's going to be approaching some oversold levels that could feature a big reversal on the price.
Jay, interesting relationship trade here. Jay mentioning Ring Central. Ring Central also ripping on earnings. This is straight up 26% on Ring Central. Good gosh. You might watch Baiynd, Twilio, and 5N off of this move. These earnings came last night here. Beat, raise. Yeah, beat, raise.
So AI services are, I'm trying to get an idea of where we should be keeping an eye on for trades. Is it AI services or AI as a service? What is this here? UCAAS provider. What is UC? I don't know what UCAAS is. What is as a service for UC? I don't know what that means. Unified Communications as a service. Okay.
Oh, big pull here in SPY.
Uh-oh.
Big pull here in SPY.
The most recent thing that I see here is just S&P Global PMI.
Yep, that was from the pre-market.
RGTZ still climbing.
Jay mentioning that it seems to be that the market is finally paying attention to earnings multiples.
Free cash flow and all that, yep. Lockheed Martin strong. So is RTX. I think NOC also doing pretty well. Yeah. How's Boeing doing? Boeing's up. They have earnings in 4 days. What's their chart look like? They've been kind of sinking here, but they're turning around possibly on those earnings from the other military names. But this is also a commercial manufacturer of aircraft, so I don't know about this one as far as the defense names go.
S&P equal weight up 0.5%. Anne-Marie says the war machines are alive. We talked about that earlier on Lockheed Martin's report.
War machines, I think the farming machines were also doing well, although today they're not doing so much. They were, cat was getting a bounce, but this thing has been on such a run. It looks like it should come back in. How's deer doing? Because those agricultural machinery stocks were looking pretty good yesterday as well. And the manufacturing. So deer doing okay, but looking a little weak today. Kind of putting in some topping out pattern above the 20-day SMA.
Jay mentioning that Amcor got sold here. Oh, yeah. This actually reported a strategic partnership with NVIDIA. Look at this. This is a complete round trip, Jay. Good mention. Just lost the lows of yesterday's opening candle on the SPY. Looks like we're going to go lower here probably.
Let's see. Let's go back to SPY. Where are we at? Oops. PN, after that pop, gave it all back, going underneath the 65 EMA. Looking at SPY. Losing 38. 3808.
Really falling here.
Yeah, 3808 was the previous all-time high from May 8th. That was providing support yesterday. Losing that again here today. Maybe we'll get another rebound because yesterday's candle was pretty neutral. Could have indicated a reversal. Could have indicated more continuation. Doesn't really make a difference with these candles, but there's something to watch for here. So far, it looks like maybe more downside is ahead. Next levels to the downside to watch for 736.13, 734.59, and 731.70.
Well, we'll see if the market gets any type of footing here. It is extremely weak so far.
Booz Allen.
Lion saying, let the cues fall. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Booz Allen, BAH. This is getting a pop today. They had earnings. This is, let's see, they had mixed earnings. Looks like their guidance was, around expectations. Maybe not their EPS, but their sales guidance looks pretty good.
Oh, CJMB, what a nasty pullback that was. Hopefully nobody got hurt on that. Yeah. And then OMH, I know this was a penny runner that was getting mentioned earlier. This now in dollar territory, big move here, 165%. OMH, oh my home.
Even Sky Quarry, this is what I was thinking may end up happening here. It just the formation in the pre-market wasn't looking that great. We did get a pop up to $7, couldn't clear it. Back down to the 200 EMA we go. Lots of stuff just read today. What is not good?
I think right now, Big B's with the earliest call of the day here took a look at American Airlines and said, look, if this is the thing that's up the most, we might be a sit on our hands day. Big B's, that call has been golden so far. Absolutely looks like and feels like a sit on your hands day so far.
We are getting some recovery here in Google. Of the Mag 7, it looks like Google and Apple are the ones that are up. Just looking around, I see, there is a good amount of green around the market, but tech is not having a good day.
No, it is not. No, it is not. Bitcoin tough. Oil's still holding lower, but it's actually up off of its lows. Anne-Marie says, can I say I'm so happy to see a fade? Yes, you absolutely can. We've actually been talking about that, and I've been trying to get people to think about whatever it is, a fade or a move higher, just get ready to play the hand in front of you, right? If we're all positioned for a move higher, what do you think the market's going to do? It's going to pound us.
Look at all these guys. Look at all these guys in their positions. Yoink.
Oh, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Much lower. Market loves to punish as many things as it can, or as many people and participants as it can. Now got a little love out of the gate, and it's holding up. Let's take a look at now. Now is actually still in the green by 4.3%.
That's a nice turnaround there over the
Yeah, it sure is.
past day.
And this is, we had another trend line here that we connected the lows on. It looks like it's curled off of that.
PN halted to the downside. Okay, I'm wondering if we're going to start seeing a reversal, seeing some names start to bounce or find support.
Yeah, the SPY looks like it's trying to. I just don't know if I trust it. Now, the last time I said that, it ended up being a great trade that I didn't take because I didn't trust it. So try and learn from mistakes here. Does look like it's trying to turn around, though.
RGTZ, tickling 6.
Tickling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Netflix. That went red-green, actually. Costco's still in the green. SpaceX and Tesla finding a bottom or trying to. And the SPY starting to try and curl up. No indicator to buy. There's no signal to buy, though.
I mean, probably because of it might be a low volume. You know, since we last looked at it, 10 minutes out of the gate, it hasn't even doubled yet. We're still, I mean, hold on, maybe refresh here because I know these readings can be weird. Nope, we're still under 4 million shares traded.
Buffalo by bicycle. Be like Costanza and do the opposite.
Hello.
If everything you do is always wrong, then the opposite must be right. Oh, good times. Sorry, 13.
No worries. Just saying good morning to Lion. And just waiting to see if we actually get some kind of turnaround here in these names. Looks like a lot of them are trying to get some support.
SPY bounce short-lived, at least so far. I guess maybe a retest of that low and a hold might change things, but so far, yeah, not great.
Monday,
strong in a sea of red.
Fake Beat saying Monday, MNDY.
Okay, MNDY.
This back up to yesterday's open, or about there, kind of gave back or gave away a lot of downside there. Found some support, went sideways, and then here we are recovering. So we've kind of round tripped here.
SPY retesting that intraday low. I would be careful with this too. I would use the Mark Putrino strategy on this, where you don't just try it. Don't try catching the falling knife unless you have chainmail gloves. Instead, just wait for it to confirm that for you.
Or your Britney Spears.
Cush League says serenity now, insanity later.
CBRS up 10%. I think they had. Then they have like a.
Actually, I think that's minus 10% because it traded. It traded higher yesterday. This actually broke the lows from the previous 2 days here. I think on CBRS, your next spot here. Gosh, I kind of want to say 183. Up, SPY's trying to hold that low. It's doing its damnedest to try.
I mean, look at CDRS. That was a nice reversal candle, the last candle it put in. Go to a smaller time frame here. It looked like that looks like a bit of a reversal candle. Like you have a not a hammer, but a dragon fly doji.
On which one?
CBRS.
CBRS.
Yeah, look at the 5 minute. At the previous candle. Nice reversal. See if we let's see if this
okay.
up here. So if we are reversing, we should see a recapture of 200. So we'll see if that ends up happening. This is a very low RSI. When this was selling, this thing went underneath 20 RSI on the 5 minute.
AMKR calls getting bought, by the way.
PN is back open. It went down to the 200 EMA, getting some support at the moment. Looks like some of these names are trying to turn around here, but it doesn't seem like they've got the real good strength right now. Meanwhile, you have a Gravestone Doji on RGTZ. That might mean this comes back to at least VWAP. Wild's trying to get through its VWAP.
WLDS.
And it's wearable devices. Sorry, I just keep saying Wild.
It's just, to me at this point now, it's almost like a meme.
Yep.
Just passing through, the weather actually looks perfect. We're going to fish. We're going to go on the boat. We're going to go out to the sandbar where people party in the lake because it's all shallow there. We're going to play golf. We're going to grill food. I'm going to do well. Don't worry. SPY trading up here. So what I said about when it was going to roll over and try and retest its lows, it did exactly that, and it held it. Look at this. So it rolled over. I guess technically it did set a slightly higher low, but here's the bounce back. Now, can this continue? Got to get back above VWAP. Otherwise, these might just be chop trades. Yeah, and that S&P futures, that even on that bounce right there, couldn't get back to the VWAP and move above it.
And CBRS not able to turn around quite yet. Did get pretty close to 200, but it was rejected. Where is RGTZ now? Do we get over 6? Not quite. Man, this volume is just awful. Monday turning around, still trying to, it's back above VWAP, but very spready. Seeing like a 40-cent spread here.
JJ asking me what lake. You know what? It's my buddy's lake house, so I don't actually know. Let me see. Let me see if I can get a name.
Still looks like some names are trying to bottom here.
That SPY bounce rejected actually at the 9 EMA, just shy of the VWAP. That bounce not ready yet. Apple's still holding up near the highs. That's good to see. And I believe Costco went ex-dividend today and is still green already.
It looks like Livewire. I mean, it needs some more volume, but if we get an influx of volume here, we could push into some new session highs.
It's going to need to get above this VWAP. It's currently battling with it.
I have it getting support from VWAP right now.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. So actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Yeah, and this candle here, I have VWAP at 145. So,
Zach, thanks for bringing that up because you're referring to the tariffs on Canada, and it's not just hockey sticks. But I think one thing that we would want to keep an eye on are cement names, because that is there's a tariff on that. Cement, hockey sticks, some consumer goods. But I think the most important one out of those tariffs there were the cement angle. So it could be good for some local cement companies here. Might be depending on what they what they supply, because there's really fine cement and there's like other less crushed up types. So.
Trevor, looks like classic rotation into safety for the weekend. You're seeing volume into J&J, Lilly, and insurance names like PGR and TRV, etc. That's good looking out there.
Yeah, safety names. I mean, we already started seeing a lot of movement into the defense names, the military names like Lockheed and RTX. I mean, yesterday we saw a lot of that movement. It looks like there is some recovery trying to happen here. I'm seeing Livewire start to go higher. CBRS hasn't broke the lows. It's still trying to go higher.
Westcap saying it's time to short OMH. Good luck. SPY still struggling to have any type of strength, despite some of the turnarounds that 13 mentioned.
Mm-hmm. It's certainly trying to turn around here in some of these names.
How's Vivek doing? VIVK Vivicor. Come on.
This is...
it's just lower than VWAP.
So it's interesting because the area where it's getting some support was the area where it was getting resistance in the pre-market. See how those wicks came up to the same area, the wicks that we're coming down to now for support?
Yep.
So that 65 EMA and this, I guess we'll call it 280. This area right here looks to be the current support level for Vivek.
SMCI, recapture of its VWAP and against its cloud as well.
Cerebras looking for 200.
3043 here, maybe a quick trade on SMCI. Don't love this name though. Now Cerebras, what did you have on this one, 13?
It's coming back up to 200. It's going to test it again.
There we go.
Now, if we do break through 200, I would be looking at 204 as the next resistance area. Living life in NASDAQ stand. Any thoughts on Intel bottom? Look here and see where Intel is at. I haven't looked at it since we opened.
SMCI, that's through its VWAP now. That's trying. I did get a buy indicator here on the SPY 0 DTE, by the way. Now that's running into VWAP. Gosh, do I chase this higher? I feel like I'm just going to get stopped on this.
Okay, so Intel.
Bot didn't take it.
You know, on a daily chart, it still looks like this could go lower. Like it could go underneath 90.
For Intel, huh?
Yeah, I don't know that this is necessarily going to recover quite yet. The daily chart just looks like it's going to go head lower. $90 looks to me like that's the support that needs to hold up. If we go underneath $90, to me, your next support is going to be like $80, and then you have a gap fill down to the 200-day SMA. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at right now with Intel. 90, 80, then the 200-day SMA. All the next support levels to the downside. Jim wants VWAP. It certainly does. It's right there.
Yeah, and Alan, SMCI is a case study on how not to run your books. That's what we said. And when we were talking about them, having some good news about their earnings and turning things around, we were like, do you trust it after what just happened? The resounding answer was no for the most part. You can see here, Fake Beat just saying it is a fraud. By the way, S&P, and we're pretty much all in agreement there. SPY now continuing about this is actually ripping, so I probably should have chased that trade. I'm just trying to be more disciplined here. That didn't make a whole lot of sense. But SPY trading up to the highs now. This is pushing away from VWAP.
The big thing with SMCI that blows my mind as to why they're still in business is a lot of the people that were previously getting in trouble for doing all the things that initially pulled them down like years ago. They're still back on like the board or in the company. They just got hired back. How what more do you want? That's corruption on that's like next level corruption.
Yeah.
So SMCI just I don't want to touch that one. It might be a good trader, but it's full of traitors.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And I just mentioned it because I saw it recrossing the VWAP here, but I would have much rather trade the SPY move. What a reversal off the bottom there. All right, it's stopping at least in the meantime.
Looks like RGTZ was coming in a little bit, losing VWAP. Went to 599. You are getting some recovery here in some names. Livewire had a nice pop to 155, but gave it back. Still holding VWAP at the moment. Large seller on their way at 143. That may walk it down.
Vivicor, this looks like this is losing some more now. Ondas bouncing back a little bit. Apple continuing to push higher. Tesla looks like it found a bottom there at 314.
Yeah. I agree, Gary. If you're worried about SMCI, trade Dell, trade HPE. Those are the better names. Absolutely.
Especially Dell.
Mm-hmm. All right, Livewire still holding VWAP, trying to push up. So I'll have the seller in the way at, well, now it's at 154. Ooh, Skycore really taking it on the chin now. This is, beneath yesterday's close. It's coming down to some consolidation from yesterday. So there's a demand zone between looks like about 495 to 525. So we're approaching a demand zone here in SkyQ.
Nasty looking move here, SkyQ.
Mm-hmm. ACAN. and Ondas needs to clear 9, and then ACAN is what Billy's looking at. I'll take a look at that. BIOT, Jay Wild is saying it's halted. New IPO. I'll take a look at that one too. But let's see what ACAN is about here. Nice 50% move up here today. So it looks like it went from about, what was the close yesterday? Around $8. Now we're over 12. What was the news here on this Canadian company? I don't see any news here.
Oh, My Home continues to push higher. This is actually halted. Last halt was at 10/11/29.
Good luck, Barb.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Barb.
What was the other one I was looking at? BIOT.
That I can't even make sense of.
So they had news yesterday. Instinct Biotechnical combines with Relativity Acquisition on debut on Nasdaq on July 24th under ticker BIOT. So it sounds like it's a SPAC merger. I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. Yeah. I think that's what happened anyway. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it seems like. I'd have to look into this some more to actually figure that out. But to me, it looks like this may have been a merger, like a SPAC merger.
Look at SPY. Good God. I tell you what, my own feeling on the market and my own emotion. I know we talk about emotion with Mark Putrino all the time. It costs me more money on these 0 DTE trades than anything else. The sentiment was just so poor today. Look at this move higher. And this is continuing to push. I got 4 buy signals on this move up.
And it's probably just one guy doing it because the volume is just so terrible. I kid, it's not one guy, but I mean, it's very low volume, so the joke applies.
This does look like it's going to try and push higher. Bot took one here, so we'll see. Bot's 0 for 2 on 0 DTEs today. If it does another one here, it shuts down on the 0 DTE strat. Although I probably should remove that for paper trading just to get more data. I felt like putting guardrails in from the beginning.
WLDS is still trying to hammer that VWAP. Volume's not great, but just keep an eye on it in case we get that one big spike in volume that takes us through the VWAP. It's still continuing to hammer it while getting support from the 65 EMA. OMH looks great. Let's look at OMH. You guys are mentioning that.
I was halted for the next couple of minutes, or 1 minute maybe.
Is this? Hold on. Singapore name. We didn't really look at this one earlier this month, did we?
OMH?
Yeah.
Maybe, because we've looked at the housing stuff a number of times. This fits into it.
It's just that this one is facing NASDAQ noncompliance. And I'm wondering if this is maybe a future recompliance play. I don't have any news on why it's going up here today, but I would probably want to read into some more of that Nasdaq compliance. How they're planning on regaining it, because that path forward could affect the way this trades.
Anne-Marie, I'm going to challenge you, Ryan, and say you are accessing intuition that you haven't formalized into words. There's something your mind is recognizing that you haven't cemented into consciousness instead of emotion. Yeah, how do I deal with that is the question.
So it looks like the OMH has until January 11th to regain compliance.
That opened and rehalted already. It was open for 17 seconds.
It's plenty of time. Wilds continues to get rejected by the VWAP, still getting support from the 65 EMA for the time being. Livewire pushing up into 150. Looking for a break over that high earlier in the regular session of 155. Sellers still in the way there. Need some more volume, and we got it.
Another pull here on SPY. By the way, whoever was asking about the lake, the name of the lake is Legend Lake.
That's where all legends go.
That's right. Okay, Anne-Marie, that's good food for thought. I'll think about that.
RGTZ, nice reversal there. I mean, these reversal candles, very, very prominent. You got these dragonfly dojis, these greystone dojis. They're just really great reversal candles in RGTZ today. Makes it very easy to trade when you have these very, very easy to trade candles. Looking for 6 in RGTZ.
SPY back beneath VWAP and S&P futures beneath VWAP. That is still a lot of chop. NVIDIA getting mentioned here. I haven't looked at it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. This NVIDIA looks like a bunch of chop too.
It seems like it's just, trying to scare people out of the market, or, trying to just force them out. The little guys, with all this price action. Kind of the feeling I'm getting here. All right.
I mean, it's just not like there's just no continuation here. Like, you're basically just scalping, if anything. So the feeling I'm getting is that the little guys are going to struggle today, 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's what's
yeah
by design here.
You might be right. I think the hands-off call was the call of the day. Bernhard somehow made $1,000 and went to the golf course. That's like, I don't know how much better you can play today.
Chop and smoke that brisket. That's right. That is right. And then Eric mentioning 100% all scalps on low volume. That's kind of been what it's looked like here. Just get in, get out, be good. Still waiting for this live wire move to go beyond 155. Let's see if we get it.
I don't know. I don't know about you, 13. I'm looking around. I'm looking at small caps. I'm looking at options. I'm looking at some of the bigger names. I don't see anything here that is appealing today.
Here we go. Live wire breaking higher. I mean, this thing was sinking all the way into the regular session, so this did look a little bit more appealing. But man, that recapture of the VWAP was what we needed, because now we just put in some new highs. The resistance we're coming up to 165, 175, and then like after that it could be like 2, anywhere around 2.
Ed says the only thing green in my account is a Tim Melvin play. Tally how many times that you end up saying that to yourself. You might be surprised when you get to the end of that. That's funny. I'm up $10. It just doesn't feel like a great day here today to do much. Take care, Lion.
See you, Lion. And if you're up at all, I think that's great on a day like this. Looks like Gem is trying to get through VWAP right now. it's just really hard to trust these low volume moves. They're very, very spread out. So you could get your price, but when you go to, like, let's say you try to sell, because of how the amount of volume that's being traded here, you may not get your order completely filled. And that's kind of the concern right now, I think. Monday back above VWAP, but on shaky ground.
Man. GP Gary just cleared 100% on Berkshire B.
What is it, like an options trade, or did you go long on the stock a while back and now you've doubled? Yeah, it is a good day to be diversified in several sectors. I think that's if you're have long-term prospects here and you're just kind of holding because this isn't part of a retirement account and you're well diversified, then you shouldn't be as heavily impacted today. It's a good portion of the market that's leaning heavily into tech. All right. Livewire. Wow. We got
Livewire really the only thing here that's doing much of anything constructive. Volume looks good. Move up to the VWAP. Consolidation around the VWAP. Now a push away from VWAP. So
yeah.
I mean, like, it is what it is. Look at the SPY chart though.
Yeah, this is RGTZ.
Look at this intraday SPY chart. It's just there's nothing here. This is like
illiquid.
No wonder the bot got smoked. There's nothing it can do.
Need more datas. It doesn't seem like there's enough, information it's getting because the volume is just, so low and spread.
It's just getting stopped out of everything. Here's SPY. Let's see if it pushes above the high end of this range or if we just come crashing back in. Oh my God, for a sec there, I thought we were going to come crashing back in. That was wild. Let's see what we get here on SPY.
Apple's insane today. Where's Apple at?
I mean, Apple's straight up. That's true. Apple is just straight up today. So the safety trade, right? We've talked about before. That's still in play here.
Mm-hmm. It's where a lot of people go to because if there's a concern also of rates being raised, this is one good one to be in because they have a lot of cash. They have a lot of cash sitting in the bank, and that is subject to those interest rates, those increases. Come on, why am I not getting any news? All right, well, I have to wait for that now.
What are you looking for? I can try to look it up.
I'm just waiting for my newsfeed to show up here.
On what?
Anything. Any stock that I'm going to, just spinning circle. Looks like ADVB is trying to turn around here. BNRG, this looks finished. What else? There we go.
Your newsfeed loaded?
Finally, yeah. I don't see any news that would be driving this higher, except just, like you said, a flight to safety.
Okay, I reported that it's taking an abnormally long time to load. Mine's still spinning too.
Okay. Looks like Livewire still wants to go higher. It's about to push into new session highs. Volume could be better though. If it doesn't improve it, you're going to see this pull.
And speaking of pull, we're saying SPY, let's see what happens when it gets up to that same area. Yeah, it pulled. So more just back and forth here. Oh, this is definitely a day to go fishing.
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens here with some of these quantum names because RGTZ, it's looking like it's setting up to potentially go higher, but I don't think I want to jump back into this quite yet. I had a couple of good trades in this one.
Wes, take care of yourself. Have a great weekend.
Take care, Wes. Yeah, Livewire looks like, I think really right here we're just going to need to see some better volume, because that's really what's taken us up higher. Every time that we've got a good volume candle, we've been able to push higher. So volume is going to be the name of the game with LBWR right now, and we're going to need to see more than what we're getting right now. AGCO, an equipment manufacturer. Let's see, AGCO. I wonder if I've looked at this one yet. Looks like it doesn't. It trades pretty thinly here. Agricultural equipment. Okay, this is an interesting one. Like an alternative to Deere. And wouldn't you know it, that's one of their peers. Thanks. Thanks for this one, because this is interesting. And what's even more interesting is that they are mostly geared towards sales in Europe and the Middle East. And they're trying to increase market share in North and South America. I like this one. Let me write it down. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. AGCO, the ag company. I like it. Looks like Monday just put in a new session high.
Let's see. Vivek might be curling here. SPY rolling back over. God, there's just nothing, folks. There is just nothing. Anne Marie, I hope you got some good option ideas here, because we are struggling today. Yeah, Gary, I don't blame you, man. Have a great weekend. This is definitely a weekend to get away a little bit early.
Yeah, it's gonna be pool time later on. I'm just kind of waiting to see if there's a good setup that I want to take. And so far, there's not really anything that's looking interesting to me. Or
I'm with you, 13.
I was looking at Livewire, but like I said, the volume needs to be better in this if we're going to, move through and hold 165. IBM is still strong. Let's look at IBM.
And SPY is trying to hold the 9 EMA here. I don't feel good about this, though. Really great Friday. Westcap, you know what? Good, man. Here, we'll give you a register ring. At least somebody had a great one. I know Bernhard did too, but man, oh man, I didn't find any of the setups that you did.
I like how we got IBM to bounce off 200, and now we're recovering. Kind of wonder if that was the spot, because it was you look back at March 2024, that really does kind of solidify the $200 area as a resistance turn support level. So the fact that we bounced off that and are continuing higher, I think that's a great sign. What I would like to see is for a test of 240 at some point in the coming weeks. Maybe we'll get that next month.
All right, 13. Sorry, market is a sleeper here.
you did what the market's feeling.
I know, man. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry to the viewers out there. It's just market just doesn't have anything here today. You have any closing words for the group?
Hey, at least it was fun coming here and talk with you. I'm looking at some stocks. Not everything worked out the way it did, but that's okay, because Monday's another day. I'm sure we'll have some developments over the weekend that's gonna give us some more volatility next week. And we also have a lot of earnings next week. So
yeah,
this isn't the end. We're going to still have some good days. I think they're going to be coming to us next week. We should see some more upside. So stay tuned. We'll have some better trading next week. But until then, enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.
All right. 13, have a great weekend. Enjoy the pool. We'll see you on Monday. 13's departure leaves room for Anne Marie. Anne Marie, save us, please. I mean, just save us. I feel terrible. Normally I try to, have a good opening act. So when you come on here, it's easy, it's fun. I don't have any of that for you here today. This market sucks.
One of the main reasons that I've talked about iron condors is because I see this kind of slosh. So as always, we'll start with the SPY, and I want to show you something really interesting. What we are staring down right now is this huge sideways slosh days and days and days and days of it. And today, the buyers have got to hold this zone. They are really in a space where if they lose it, we've got 728 all the way down to this big flush at 716. So they're all fighting, and the sellers want to say, all right, I'm going to step on your neck if you try to buy it here.
Mhm.
So what we're watching is real battle. So the question is, how do we see that? It's a flat VWAP. It really, really is. And you can see that from, say, maybe a 4-hour chart that shows us that the VWAP is essentially flat. It's well above us, but it's flat. And so that's not going to give us any of that strength that we're looking for to move either up or down. And so what we can see is that we're battling inside of the big 4-hour candlestick that began at 9 o'clock yesterday until, what would that be, 1 p.m. We're sitting in that pocket. So when you sit in that pocket and you know there's a big battle, then you can trade the battle. You buy the stock, you buy the bottom on the tight recovery of the MOC candle, wherever that candle is. And that MOC means market on close, for those of us that aren't super familiar with that. And what it tells us is what the prior day was doing in that space. And so, see, where is that MOC candle? Heavens. The MOC candle is right here. And you can see us battling that. So when it comes to that MOC candle, let it flush, because you know that the sellers are trying to shake the buyers out, but the buyers are trying to have conviction to buy the dip. So you let it shake, and as soon as it recovers that edge, that open, you want to go ahead and buy it. And so the big thing is, when your bot is sitting in that sideways space, you got to go, this is a range formation, and then adjust your rules. So
Okay.
that might be something for Super Grok to take a look at.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Identify a sideways range and pause.
Exactly. Pause if you are uncomfortable with trading chop. Some of my favorite trades are chop because I'm intraday. So these are fun for me, but you got to be quick, and your
Yeah.
prices have got to be really, I mean, you really got to be staring it down in terms of where you get in, where you get out, almost ahead of time. So that being said, big decision being made. The PreMarket and Kalshi and all of those guys are saying 2 rate cuts into the end of the year. Warsh has said, I took this position, I'm not going to raise rates. The market is actually raising the rates. And the way we can see that is by looking at the bonds. And so let's get those up really fast so you can see what's going on. But irrespective of Warsh not changing the rates, the market's doing it on its own. And so those as the tick tock. All right, friend, what's up? Here we go. You can see they're trying to buy the bottom here in the bonds, right? Bonds down, yields up, bonds up, yields down. And a lot of them are trying to really buy this bottom here. And that might give the market a little bit of float to the upside. On top of that, we're watching oil. It's pretty sideways. A couple of big trades this morning early I saw come through the trade flash, and it shows them trying to buy it. But every time they bought it, they've been smashed in the face. So that's neither here nor there. Anyways, what can we look at? Same sort of things we talked about on Tuesday. Healthcare doing well, financials doing well, energy doing well, right? This is a risk off in general because consumer staples are off. And remember, markets don't go to cash, they just go to someplace else they're treated better. And so that we can see, hey, listen, money's drifting out of here today and moving into the war machine, the industrials, healthcare, energy. So the question is, how long do you want to take the trade for? Because the whole summer, in my mind, is going to be nothing but a chop fest. Absolute nightmare chop fest. All the known unknowns we have, what we're doing in the Middle East, what's happening with rates, what's happening with the hyperscalers, what's happening with the credit spreads, what's happening with the yen that's had the biggest rise in yields in 40 years. And they spend a lot of money in the US. So if they are going to be able to get a higher percentage rate back home, that's going to suck money out of this market and push it back into that market over there. So a lot of big known unknowns. And so our question becomes, what do we want to do? My thought is always, you gotta just trade the range. If you want to go quick strike, you're going to have to look for the bottom of the range and buy it. So let's take a peek, see if any of these are actually hitting the bottom of the range.
Okay.
Let's take a look at Google.
Now, is this GOOGL?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm going to go to the daily. We're going to see, had a pretty rough earnings event. And guess what? It's not above the high of that earnings candle. And so if we breach above that high, we've got upward pressure, but we know the broad market is selling off these hyperscalers. So what's the most reasonable thing to do? It would be short the highs. So how do you want to do that? A couple of different ways. Is this, you have to ask yourself, is this the kind of a market that has a runaway train? Well, potentially, but not in these guys. These guys aren't doing runaway trades. Who's doing the runaway trade is something like Raytheon, right? Like we were talking about the war machines. That's a runaway trade. It's also sitting in a market where people are not willing to hang on and buy dips savagely and move ahead. So this one might be a short put spread as opposed to Google, which clearly suggests to me a short call spread. So let's take a peek. Two things. We can look at an iron condor, or we can just look at one side of the trade because we're afraid the market's going to, collapse. I don't really see that, but anything can happen, right? ACH, as they say. So let's take a look at Google and see what we can do. So you want to go near term? That's perfectly fine. Let's see where the call wall is. Well, the call wall is right up here, 320, 4,500, and then 16,000. So 350 looks like the top of the range. This might have been where everybody was looking at the market and going, hey, you know what? I'm bullish Google. Listen, I believe that AI is cannibalizing Google. I think it's cannibalizing itself because search fields, their search is down huge. We talked about that the other day. I just don't see it running at a huge clip in the near term. So if we just go to August and we say, hey, let's trade the shop, it doesn't really give us very much premium.
Can we boost the size of the text there, Emery?
Let's see. Oh, these are mine. I need to. Let's do it.
I know it's frustrating. I'm sorry to keep
No
asking you.
worries. No worries. I thought I had it at something that we could look at, but sometimes, yeah, there we go. That should be better. Okay, so, and you can see big put buying down here into the end of July, put selling. They're thinking that this bottom is nearby, but it could flush and they could roll it. Now,
Mhm.
that's a spread. The 100 weeklies, they bought the 100s at 680 and sold the 685. So yeah, it's actually a bullish spread. So, they're seeing that. But we only get 90 cents off of this call spread event. So it might be worthwhile to look at where the support leg is, big fat round number of 300. It might not be a bad idea to slip behind it and say 295, 285. It barely gives us our $2 minimum that we like, but it's money that's going to slosh around and bounce from one end to the other. Let's say you want to take a trade that is more shorter in duration. So let's do it. If you want to look at Google from a short-term perspective, I know this is crazy. Don't even fret about it. Okay, so what we're looking at is a big loss. It totally lost its purchase here. That means the volume profile on the edge is very thin. And so it could reflexively bounce if you're staring that sort of thing down. I still think, that reflexive bounce is not something that I would want to trade simply because, I've got my earnings candle that just doesn't look very good right there. And I don't surmise we have ourselves something really grand in terms of motion. So if it were me, I would do a put spread and try to make it cheap. And so we know we've got a lot of volume in the chains. So maybe you take the 3rd of August and you say, you know what? I'm going to chase this down. I'm going to go the 310 to 305. It's $1, so you literally would get almost 4x if it doubled. If you want to turn it to a butterfly, I would go up 315 to 305 and then 295. And it's $1.80, but it does give you $1,000 versus $500 on the spread. And we know that those are going to be fairly liquid. That's certainly something that you can do. You can butterfly and then leg yourself out. These charts are not looking like they're going to bounce, folks. They aren't. And so you have to think, do I want to trade the bounce short because there's so much overhead pressure? Or do I want to sit back and wait, like 13 said, pull out your checkbook and wait for the charts that give you good flow? And I am still of the mind that these healthcare is giving us a signal about where money is flowing. And, they're not sexy, but they sure do
Emery,
work.
at the beginning when you were talking about SPY, you were talking about the buyers were trying to hold it up here and they really need to do it. Otherwise, we're going to come in. I'm at the point now of all of this slosh back and forth. Just let it go. What are we doing? Just let it go. Let it come in. Maybe we can actually change the regime here because right now this slosh is I shouldn't say that. You said it was great for you. You have a great. I'm just saying, like I give us the pullback. Give us the pullback.
It's tough for the momentum trader. It's very tough for the
Yeah.
momentum trader. And that is really something super important. But take a look at this one. The market's under pressure. There definitely are sellers above, but dip buying, not a bad idea. So let's say you're thinking, all right, let me see what I can do here. Twofold. You could buy a condor and say, okay, let me see if I can get this cheap. Let's say my resistance, Anne-Marie. All right, let's go back to the daily. Say my resistance is 1250. I think it's going to break out. Let's say you're bullish because it looks bullish. So you go to 1250 and that's where the put wall is outside of the current put wall at 1200. So if you said to yourself, hey, I'm going to try and buy a condor here or buy a wide butterfly. And if you buy a wide butterfly, 1200 to 1250 to 1300, it's $690, but it's also got $5,000 of upside for you in the space. And so if you're saying to yourself, well, what does that wide butterfly end up doing for me? It gives you a lot of room for upside if it moves. The second thing would be, okay, I'm going to use that 1200. I'm going to make a condor. So I'm going to go 1200 to 1220. And then I'm going to sell the 1240 to 1260. It's $2, $2,000 of upside. It's 10x. And all you're doing is sitting around and waiting because you believe that Eli Lilly is bullish. And if you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, but I don't want to pay for that, then easily you can look down at this marker and say, okay, where, oh, they've got earnings on the 5th. Oh, that is very interesting. That, this might be one of the ones that run for earnings like Raytheon, like whatever. But, selling the 850s, if you sold a put spread and you said, okay, let's see where 850, nope, 850 gives us, look at the spread at that, 190.33. Yeah. So, this is fair. A $2 bet into earnings gives it room to run. You're not way far out of the money. I mean, your top delta is 52. And so that looks like a pretty good shot to me, right? If you want to choose something cheaper, it doesn't really have as much juice. It would be something like Pfizer. But all of these guys, they're doing big things. Healthcare is really going to change if AI does something remarkable.
Yeah, I think we're all waiting for that too.
Yeah, for sure. Now, insurers, not so hot. And the reason that insurers are not so hot is very long and complicated. Short story is, it's what's in their own market basket that's giving them leverage, because all of the actuaries see the same data. They know how to price insurance. Everybody understands the same data. So where do they get leverage to perform better than the others? It's what they hold in their basket. Just like Huang has all of these things in his basket, right? And so their own investment portfolio is boosted by what they hold on the side. These guys are the same. And so this area probably is going to see a little bit more volatility, but how far did UNH fall before it started trying to hang on? And it fell really hard, and now it's recovering. We, in the Benzinga Pro Room, we had a 400 call spread for, I think it was September or December, but it was way back when this thing was like $220, something like that. So that's fantastic. It just took a hot minute to do it. And these are the kinds of things that we're seeing happening. And of course, look at this. This is a weekly, monthly VWAP, can't remember, but it's completely sideways. Completely sideways. That means iron condor. Sideways VWAP, iron condor. And so if you're staring down the markets, just realize we're in this big sideways pocket with a lot of people to lose. There's going to be a big flush. We're either going to have a huge short squeeze that recovers all of yesterday's motion, or we're going to have another fade down. You're going to go, well, thanks, Captain Obvious, whatever. But the truth of the matter is they're at a crossroads and they are battling for dominance. And so we just sort of have to wait on that. Another one you could look at, very solid, but it's been super sideways, is Chevron. Now, why is Chevron the leader in my mind? Well, they have enough berries to go into Venezuela and continue to put a footprint in there. And that's huge. Nobody else wants to go but them. They're best positioned, and we absolutely need that heavy sour crude, or diesel is going to be $12 a gallon. We have to have heavy crude. And so Canada doesn't want to play nice. Apparently, we don't want to play nice with Canada either. So we can't get the heavy sour there. We got to go to Venezuela. CVS is the guy. Look into the future. See where these guys are positioning. Let's see if there's anything on the flash trade for CVS. Nope, nothing.
Are you saying CVX?
CVX, sorry. Here we go. Look at this. 12,500, 100 lots. It's not individual. The 210 calls, right? So this looks like maybe some kind of calendar event, right? They're selling the front end and buying the back end. So they're, oh no, this is a spread by itself. So we've got 187 to 192. That's a pretty big delta. So they're buying the 187.50s, selling the 192s, and they're doing that in the 24. Oh, that's today. Interesting. Gutsy, whoever's doing that. Let's look at the October one. Right? 12,500 at the 210s. Bought it right out. If you don't want to buy it right out, buy spread. The 210, 220, $2, right? 8 to 1. If you want to do it in some other form or push it into December because you think it's going to take longer, whatever the case is, there are trades to be made, but you've got to have patience. Yeah. Patience is going to be huge here. Another one. Let's see what else we have going on. Let me look at my list. Micron trying to get a bounce. I am holding an iron condor into Bloom Energy earnings, and it is making me nervous because I think it's going to break this 190. I would not be surprised if it came down to 130. And this is, me seeing a flush and then a potential bounce.
So what do you do in this case then? Well,
a couple of things. You could say, hey, I'm just going to trade the earnings event. And I think it's got, look at the vol, 246%. So how do you do that? Well, if you're trading the vol and you're thinking, I think this thing goes down, because the vol is so expensive, the better bet is, let's see where they've got their 2,000 of them. So they're at the 250 level, right? I would not be opposed to that. 250 to 255. The spread's kind of wide. It only gives us 85 cents down there, and that's just with 7 days. But let's go to the 21st and look at that same number. See if it gives us some better energy. Market trying to bounce again.
Yep. That's right back up to the top end of the range here. I'm
Yeah,
not buying it until we
it's
break
Fight
out
Club.
from it.
Yep.
Because
It's
you
a
were right
Fight
about
Club.
trading the ranges. Like I've literally been watching it here. It's doing exactly that.
Yeah.
This is at its
So-
rejection spot, 740.
Yeah. So the big money is sitting here at 260 to 270. Just one side gives us the $2. Let's see what they're doing over on this end. 165. Yeah. This one, I see why they're picking 165, but I don't know. 165 is near their last earnings event, which was a pretty solid candle, but I think it crashes through it and heads to the bottom of the high volume event. So 135 is the better bet there. So here's how I would do that. I've sold the 260, 270 because I don't think it's going to bounce, right? They've got debt and leverage. I think that the price action could head all the way to 135 at the bottom of the range. I've got plenty of volume. I'm going to do a put butterfly, and I'm going to do the 165, 145, 125, and it's going to give me $2. So if the market goes down, I'm going to make money. If the market does nothing, I'm going to be flat because I'll make the money on the call side. I won't make money on the put side. But at this stage, because we are sideways, there's the bounce.
I was going to say
Finally,
we're breaking
gonna
out.
be-
Unbelievable.
Yeah, here is so for me, it's always what does the closing candle do? When you are staring down SPY and you're looking at it, you got to think about, wait a second, what did they do for market on close? You're going to look at that 330 candle. Oh, good golly. You're going to look at the 330 candle and you're going to say to yourself, how are they doing there? What are this machine? Insane. I cannot seem to get it telling me where it is. So what we want to do is clearly look at, come on, seriously? What we want to look at clearly is, what did the MOC candle do? And that MOC candle really, in the grand scheme of things, it tells the tale, and it's told the tale all morning. Take a look. Here is that MOC candle. I have it colored on the chart so that we know it. Look at it. Pre-market, bounce, bounce. Moves higher. So we know there's an undercurrent. They're trying to catch a bottom. It pulls back here. I wrote in the Benzinga chat in YouTube, I said, hey, listen, there's a bounce coming. It just takes time. And so you have to go, okay, as I'm going to just try and get it right here on the bounce, because I know that that is the edge of my candle body, and I'm going to buy it there every time. And once I get up over the high of that market on close, and I close a candle there, that was this one, my dips are going to continue to buy. And this could give us an epic squeeze into the afternoon. It really, really could. My thought is it won't. My thought is it won't. It's going to give us another wick that sends us into the opening candlestick formation of yesterday. And that is right here, 742. I think
All
it
right.
sends us there, and that's what we've got.
We traded up to 741 pre-market high, and that's a reverse. We'll see if we get that squeeze. Anne-Marie, really good stuff here. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right. That is Anne-Marie Baiynd, folks. And we are out of time here for today, folks. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back here on Monday. Thanks for all of the well wishes. Take care, everybody.